Hi, everybody. There I am. Yeah, now it works. Okay, welcome to the temp setup that I have been laboring for the last 7 to 8 hours to get up and running because my PC decided to have a panic attack and it just ate crap. So it's kind of frozen. I think I'm pretty much going to have to reinstall the entire operating system and start from scratch. But anybody who knows me is very much knows that that's just part of how I operate. I will sometimes, and Can't Stop Lying will attest to this, I will sometimes just dismantle everything and rewire stuff just for the sake of doing it. It's a sort of a meditative act. So I guess this is just the internet gods telling me to do this. Also, it is very possible that I got malware in an attack simply to fuck with me. And I'm fine with that. Because I'm a young man. I've got prospects. I could deal with this. And the fun part is that I don't really get all wound up about it. I just, at this point, by the way, I'm a Libra. No, I'm not a Virgo. Yep. I'm late September. It's at this point, you guys have seen me have to juggle so much crap and jump through these hoops that I honestly have this kind of like, and luckily I have Hunter Biden's laptop so I can run the entire show off that. So it's good times. Also, if I turn too far, you're going to see the edge of my little green screen bubble that I have attached to my chair. This is real run and gun stuff today. Everything's going to be fine. Mike sounds good. Everybody's all right. Do I ever sleep? I haven't. I got to say, I intend to sleep quite often. And then monkey wrenches and cats. Although I will say, as much as I might gripe a little bit, Chip has been particularly adorable lately. That's all I'm saying. Like he just has entered some kind of a lap cat phase. And he loves it when I work at this computer, because when I'm doing music and I'm working on other projects, like I'm writing right now, he'll meow at the door, and then he comes up and he just wants to sit in my lap and stop me from typing. I'm like, dude, I can't play guitar with you on my lap. I wish I could. I wish I had a lap that big. No one does. But there you go. You like this look? You like this this setup? I mean, it'd be nice if my arms could go further, but beggars can't be choosers. And I'm not going to dismantle my green screen and turn it around and face the other direction. So there you go. There we go. The nice thing about being on this computer, though, is I'm
your huckleberry.
I've got some of our old favorites back, which is nice.
To me, Corona means Italy.
You know what I mean? Like, remember these?
And then voila.
Yeah. That's the fun part of this. We'll be talking about technology today.
They're de-engineering.
Yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of those things today as well. But first off, right out of the gate, if my buttons work, I want to show you guys. There you go. It doesn't quite work, but who cares? I want to say hi to you folks. Greetings from the land. Hello, people from the land. Let me see. There's some stuff I gotta work on at this. Let's see. That's weird. The frame, this guy. Okay. I gotta open this guy up and tell it not to shut it down when there, and I don't need audio on this. It's silly. Okay, there we go. Done. All right. There we go. And there's my little, hold on. There's this guy up in the corner. This will be a little, junkier than usual. I apologize. So, but I'll have to clean this up, especially if it takes a shit. See how if I turn, the bubble goes away? You see my wrecked desk because I dismantled everything today? All right, so welcome to the show. Hi, how are you? I'll read the statement. What statement is that? Bald Thanos, which statement? Oh, I see. Read the statement. You're whispering to me to read my statement. If you'd like, I could read the statement. That statement, I understand. I was with you. It took me a second. But that's because I got so much stuff going on. I'm like, Great. Am I filling in on the radio for Joan? Do I have a live read to do? Like, that's where I went. Yeah. Yeah, I have to say, it would be, it'd be pretty near impossible for me to take the fifth in my life anywhere. I gotta say. Like, I've been thinking about that lately, and I was like, all right, what kind of charges would I be up against where I took the fifth? I would definitely ask for a lawyer in any situation. So when I'm telling the truth or negotiating the truth, I would have somebody who would help me out to make sure that I didn't get boxed in. But I don't think I'd ever, I can't see myself doing it. Even in a politically charged one. I mean, like, it's one of those things like Alexei Navalny didn't take the fucking fifth. You understand what I'm saying? In that version, they don't have one, but you know what I mean? Always take the fifths. Don't do the cop's job for them. No. Because here's the thing. I didn't do it. I know I didn't do it. Somebody did it, and that person's out there. And the sooner they get off my case and know every detail I can give them to get them off my fucking back, they can go find the person who did. The one-armed man. Just saying. Never like hold out just to fucking hold out and protect yourself, especially if you can get them to dismiss you as a suspect in some situation and send them on to the person who actually did the fucking thing. This snitches gets, let's see. Oh, Hal, please help me understand why Hunter is saying there's a laptop. Okay, so the laptop that was left at Keith Ablow's house and that one he believes was stolen in Ukraine while he was working there. The laptop that was, he hasn't said, insofar as I know, that he actually dropped one off at this repair shop. He's just saying they got stuff off of his computer, and people are saying laptop because he doesn't own a desktop or whatever. But the idea is that they snatched stuff and from his phone, and they're slapping it together, and there they go. The thing is, the court, like, if they go after Rudy for disseminating this stuff, Rudy has very few outs, and one of the outs is going to be, I didn't actually get it from the guy I said I got it from. That's going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it. Like, please. Anyways, we have a lot to cover today. What to do first? Geraldo versus Sean Hannity. Chris Salcido, who believes that, I don't know, this is a biblical hell we're in. What a dipshit. Glenn Beck has just, there are two panic attacks. This one, and this. Is this one it? No. This one. That are just, like, amazingly goofy. I got to shrink myself down. I'm too big in this shot. Like, taking up far too much frame. Boo! There you go. Now you can see the people who are actually in the clips I'm fucking with. Okay, so we'll just go down the list. Pardon me if the audio's funky for a second, if I have to reset something, but I'll be checking along the way. Let me know if everything's good. I adore you, and away we go.
Anyway, remember, the Times actually got their Pulitzer Prize for spreading these outright lies.
Will New York Times watch? Oh, this Heritage Foundation get their Pulitzer Prize back for misleading? Okay, no. It wasn't a Russian hoax. There's absolutely collusion. That we just found out that, like, Barr and like Durham and Rosenstein, all those guys were, like, doing everything they could to tamp down the connections. So piss off.
They should definitely give it back.
Yeah, I said totally. Hold on one second. Let me make sure. I feel like there's audio coming in too. Like, is there a slapback echo, or is it just me? Hopefully it's okay. Is the sound okay, guys? Let me know. Volume-wise, okay? Just checking. I think it's important to check before we get well into a show. Excellent. Okay, cool. Because some of these are, a lot of I will say, and thank you, Vincent. Please, Brian, I hope that helped you understand it. Brian, I'm a lifesaver from the lamestream media. Thank you. I try. $4.99. Thank you, Cammie, for one free mental health day. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm cheaper than a shrink and fucking adorable. So let's get going.
Correct the record and apologize, but don't expect that to happen.
Because they don't have to, and there's no reason for them to? Okay.
The New York Times is not truly a news organization. It's basically a PR operation for Biden and the Democratic Party.
Well, then they're doing a shit job explaining that inflation has nothing to do with egg prices and vice versa.
All right, now in the hot seat, we have the co-host of The Five, Geraldo Rivera, along with senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen A. Miller. All right.
I have to say right now, Stephen Miller, Geraldo looks like Stephen Miller wearing a disguise. It's like, these are the same people, but Snapchat filters work wonders.
I'll agree with you, Geraldo, on the surface. I don't think the documents are going to bring down Joe Biden. I don't think it's going to hurt Donald Trump. If it didn't hurt Hillary, everyone's getting away with classified top secret documents. That's not my issue.
My issue isn't that this has been a bunch, me just wagging my wiener in front of a camera for a couple of months, trying to get everybody impressed in the size, and it turns out it wasn't cold outside at all, and that's just its natural state.
I want to know why they found these documents on November 2nd and didn't inform the public until 68 days later. In the interim, during that 68-day interval, they also set up a special prosecutor for Donald Trump, and they also went and visited the Penn Biden Center, and they didn't tell anybody. Yes, they went to Biden's home after they found documents there. But
yeah. And you know what never happened along that way? Never. Not once. Not any moment. Not a single. There was one particular thing that didn't happen. You know what that was? NARA contacting Biden or anybody associated with him and saying, there are documents you have or you in your possession or that you took or that are missing that are from your time in the vice presidency or the Senate. Do you have any idea where those are? That never fucking happened. This wasn't NARA going, what the fuck? This was Biden going, you know what? If we're throwing shit around, we should, do our due diligence and clean house just in case, because stuff happens and I don't want to be caught on the back foot. And they just went looking. And all the stuff they found, by the way, is they're like, this is stuff going back to when he was in the Senate. Yeah, that he got out while he was vice president to review previous versions of legislation or previous versions of intel or previous versions of stuff from the State Department or whatever the fuck that he got to look at when he was the Senate and a senator and he worked in the Senate, and going, hey man, wait a minute. Do the people that are still working there, did they forget this shit or is it just me? And then you look at it and you're like, no, they're just lying.
There wasn't the big, there wasn't the siren, the raid, the kicking everybody out like they did Donald Trump.
Action replays in magnified fashion.
Right.
They went to the Rehoboth home, but they allowed Joe Biden to go to that home 10 days prior, knowing they needed to look at that home.
First of all, he's current president of the United fucking States. Period. Also, maybe he planted him when he went there. Maybe Biden just wanted to get some hot news, and they weren't there until he went there. How about that? How about those things showed up at his house while he's president, and he had them there during the time he's president? Do I think that's what happened? No, but he doesn't fucking know. The guy's president currently. Trump isn't president, wasn't president during all this shit. Didn't declassify this stuff. Otherwise, by the way, if any of what Trump was saying about this shit being declassified was true, any of it, everybody, yourself, myself, them, whether they wanted to or not, would know the contents of it because it would be freely available. You wouldn't even need a fucking FOIA request. You could just request a copy of the document because it's been fucking declassified, like some 1952 UFO, paper.
And I want you to look and talk to this audience directly, and you tell me if that sounds like equal justice and equal application of our laws, and whether or not you want Hunter Biden to have access to top secret classified information.
That's a different issue, the Hunter Biden story. That will work its way out. We are talking about this document scandal. This is a phony scandal, Sean. The documents at Mar-a-Lago was a phony raid. It had nothing to do with the American people. There is zero evidence that either President Biden or former President Trump did anything to compromise national security.
I established that point.
People
I agreed
are
with
upset.
By the way, Sean did not establish that point. He's still, the whole purpose of bringing up Hunter Biden is to give the illusion that because Hunter at some point was an addict and was working with a company that had business in China or something like that, that's he was sharing intel with them. By the way, if they had that fucking intel, they sure as shit didn't act on it. Also, by the way, sidebar, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Hold on. Whoops, did I jump in here? Yeah, here we go. I have three words for you. Chinese spy balloon. Have you guys heard about this? There is a Chinese spy balloon over Montana. That's it. That's no moon. Yeah, that's a Chinese spy satellite, specifically a drifting fucking balloon, size of 3 buses, been flying over the northern U.S., which is, by the way, where NORAD is, but it's also where like the majority of like the natural gas industry in the United States is. There's all kinds of shit. It's a like, hey, that's the moon. That's it. There's the moon. And where is it? Boop, there it is. That little guy right there. That is a Chinese spy balloon. They're going to, by the way, they're going to shoot it down. They're going to shoot it down, and then there's going to be a big press conference of, you know, they've been monitoring it as it's hovering over Montana. Understand, it's under Joe Biden's watch developed the capability to fly balloons in the sky. Come on. This has to be a parody. That's got, somebody's fucking around. That's ridiculous. She can't have written that. The fuck out of here. That sounds like something Trump would write, by the way. That's, parody by Rub. There it is. I'm like, come on. Folks, please. Chinese spy balloon. There we go. Yep, that's it. That's its little, like, solar panels to drive it, I guess. Yep, just a giant listening device headed across the northern part of the United States. George Hahn. The Pentagon says there's a Chinese spy balloon flying over the U.S., which is why more people should be having outdoor sex. Give them a good show, kids. Right. Oh, my God. They zoomed in on it. Yeah, Pentagon tracking suspected Chinese spy balloon. Under Biden, Pentagon tracks spy balloon for days, and U.S. does not shoot it down. Abandoning Americans and 85 military and won't secure border. Finally, the Biden administration is impotent. Remember, everything she says about anything, it's about Trump. Yeah, they're tracking it. They're also jamming it. They're also going to shoot it down. They're going to capture it. They just don't want it to, here's the thing. You shoot it down, and it's got a decelerometer in it, and it tells it knows it's falling, so it self-destructs, that kind of thing. Do I think they have that tech? But they definitely have the materials to make it. Do they have the capability to make it, or did they think that through? I don't know. But if you want it and you want to be able to examine it, then you don't, I love it. It's like they're tracking, but the Pentagon will not shoot it down. All of a sudden, the Pentagon have become such pussies. Yeah, so let's see. Breaking: U.S. three U.S. Air Force strata tankers have been spotted flying over Montana, where a giant Chinese spy balloon is seen. Yeah, there it is. Yep, that's a close up of it. Was this I received? Is Governor Gianforte today of Montana? From spy balloon, Chinese communists provided on Americans through TikTok, CCP link companies buying American farmland. I'm deeply troubled. Blah blah. Okay. Anyways, we'll see how this plays out. President Biden must answer why he has not secured U.S. airspace. They literally have 3 planes circling it right now. As for military options after the balloon was spotted, yeah, right, exactly. They there was that thing about it had to actually get in U.S. airspace and they had to see it first. More than likely it was up really high, so high it wasn't really gathering anything worth a fuck. And then they tried to lower it to get some shit that they could use and whatever. Why the U.S. didn't shoot down the Chinese pilot? Let's see what Time Magazine says. Get out of here. There it is. Why they didn't do it. Okay. All right, I know. All right. Has detected and is tracking a high-altitude surveillance balloon that is over the continental United States right now. The balloon is currently traveling at an altitude well above commercial air traffic. It does not present a military or physical threat to the people on the ground. Biden's briefed on the matter when he asked Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin to develop options against the large, slow-moving balloon. According to this, who wasn't authorized to speak publicly on the matter, the Pentagon had considered scrambling fighter jets to shoot it down as it traveled over Montana, but determined not to do so out of fears such an act create a debris field and endanger Americans on the ground. Yeah. They got it. All right. The official said U.S. military worked with civilian aviation authorities to put a halt on flights coming in and out of the city of Billings, Montana, and Billings in southern Montana. Even mobilized F-22s, which are the Air Force Premier Air Combat, blah, blah, blah. We put some things on station in the event that the decision to bring this thing down while it was over Montana. Wanted to make sure empty to our airspace and that potential area. But even those with protected measures taken, it was the judgment of our military commanders that didn't drive the risk low enough, so we didn't take the shot. It's significantly above this. The administration has determined the balloon doesn't give the China any additional surveillance capabilities beyond what it already can collect through spy satellites currently orbiting. When the balloon was detected, the official said the military acted swiftly to guard against Chinese collecting sensitive information. The current flight path does carry it over a number of sensitive sites. Out of an abundance of caution, we have taken additional mitigation steps, which is just they turned on the the Romulan cloaking device. Montana is one of 5 states that have the Minutemen. Yeah, right. In recent years, a handful of surveillance balloons have been spotted, but this one is appearing to hang out for a longer period of time. The engine failed on it or something and by the way, in recent years, a handful of surveillance balloons have been spotted. So we just didn't hear about the ones that happened during Trump because he was president in recent years, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, back to where we were. So
over a story that does not matter.
But you're not answering my question.
But the story of Hunter Biden.
Why did they raid Mar-a-Lago, but they don't raid any of Biden's homes?
Because he's cooperating and Trump wasn't. The only reason there's a problem is because Trump fought to keep shit that Nahhhh had said. That you have that in your position, you're not supposed to have it. At no point did they ever say that we are aware of to Biden or anybody associated with him. Hence the shit being there. Because if they had, you don't think we would have heard about it during the Trump administration, for fuck's sake?
Why is it they didn't tell the American people for 68 days? Why didn't they tell us before the election?
Because it has nothing to do with the election?
When they knew 6 days before the election. Do you think that's fair? Is that fundamentally fair?
Because none of the classified documents dealt with a woman's right to choose. How about that?
The American people.
I believe that what is happening now with Joe Biden, in part, consciously or subconsciously, is a reflection of the authorities, the Department of Justice,
Geraldo,
attempting to show the American people that they are being even-handedly. See, we raided Trump. Now let's raid Biden.
Should the American people have been told before November 8th in the midterm? They knew that he had the documents.
By that, that's it
what?
Was so in its infancy. This whole story was so much in its infancy that asking Biden to hold a press conference before the midterms and say, "Oh, by the way, the FBI is going to raid my house," or the FBI thinks I stole documents, is absurd.
Stephen Miller, is that fair?
No. This was a cover-up, a concealment to try once again to influence the American electoral process. It's what we have been seeing now.
It was a midterm. None of the House members had anything to do with this. None of the Senate members had anything to do with this. Didn't have anything to do with, it wasn't like they were on the side of letting classified documents be in the wind. It was immaterial to the midterms. And again, why would anyone, if you want to have a reason for delaying bad news, is because you know other people would take your mistakes, your foibles, in the case of Trump, your criminality, and use it against people of your party who are running when it has nothing to do with them.
6 years. The deep state, the Department of
The deep state,
Justice, now the National
and then a Illuminati, and then a deep state, and the people are the eyes wide shut people.
Archives, are trying to play God in our elections to decide.
Yes, NARA is trying to play God. These basically these clerks, these like national security clerks, who are like, that should go back in that file. That's who do you think you fucking are, God of file cabinets?
Whether Republicans win or whether Democrats win. This information was kept from the American people to.
Oh, you mean like Jim Jordan kept the news of rapes at OSU from the American people when he was running for his House seat and continues to do so? Does that count?
Try to influence the outcome of the election. I'll say one more thing. You cannot divorce this scandal from the fact that Hunter Biden, as you discussed with Senator Ted Cruz, is engaged in dealings with foreign governments. And the money that Hunter Biden is earning is then subsidizing the lifestyle of Joe Biden. So
Yes, he did pay for some shutters, I hear. Although after I hear that he rented that house, I'm going to guess that in a cracked out orgy, he ripped the shutters off and went, come and take pictures of me, coppa.
have to know. We must know. How is this classified information being used to line Biden family pockets?
Stephen, if that was true, isn't there a U.S. attorney that has been probing Hunter Biden now for a couple of years at least? Has he not come up with anything? This is a story that exists. This is a media story. This is, you got my guy, Trump. Now I'm going to get your guy, Biden. I think of far more interest right now, Sean, and you alluded to it, and it's one of the things that Stephen Miller and I...
Why does Geraldo only have to make sense like 20% of the time? Why can't we have the 20% Geraldo all the time? Oh, because he works at Fox. That's right. I'm sorry. He's got mouths to feed.
Rare things that we agree on is that Russiagate was a phony scandal.
No.
Let me ask you this.
We do not. Also, hashtag fuck Carter Page.
Well, I will take that opportunity because agreement is important to say that Russiagate,
the three of us will agree
Russiagate
on.
not only is a massive scandal, but the fact that the Columbia Journalism Review, as Sean said, a left-wing publication, came out today and condemned the New York Times and other publications.
I agree.
This is a moment. This is a moment
I agree.
where we need to have introspection in the media about what they did to Donald Trump.
The focus should be.
This is, by the way, can I remind everybody, can I take a second while they're jabbering over each other, to remind you that this is the time when Republicans it was smooth sailing. They've got the House, and they're going to show everybody who's boss, and everything will it's just be on a glide path. Just so you know, this is supposed to be the moment where they were like, finally, the tides are turning.
I want to ask a last question.
Please. And let it be and then sign off forever. Is this Sean Hannity's last show? Oh, Lord, look down upon us. Sorry.
When you look at the astronomical amount of money that the Bidens made and Joe Biden's lie that he never talked to Hunter or any family member about their foreign business.
The companies made this money. Hunter apparently got either a salary or a cut or both, depending on what the deal was. But for all it seems like, if considering the trouble, the issues he had paying his assistant at one point, doesn't it seem like there wasn't that much money going around? Honestly, wouldn't their houses be a lot fucking bigger? And again, what is this idea that like Biden is he's just sitting on $1 billion till what? Till he's 80 to experience the good life? Who the fuck waits this long to sell out their country? And by the way, for what? Shutters? Get the fuck out of here.
Feelings. You know it's a lie, Geraldo. And
Yes, yeah, here's the lie. And I can't stress this. Like, this part drives me nuts. Every time I fucking hear it, it's always Beijing, Biden, owned by China, and Russians in Ukraine have them on the puppet strings. If the Chinese, and I've said this before, but it bears repeating, if the Chinese gave Hunter Biden and thereby Joe Biden $1 billion+ to buy influence when and if he becomes president, because again, this happened after he was vice president, whatever the fuck, to make him bend American foreign policy to the benefit of China. For the record, China got fucked in that deal. I don't know how anyone looks at the CHIPS Act, the AUKUS agreement, the current ships we're sending to protect Taiwan and go through the South China Sea, the bases we're opening up in the fucking Philippines, and says China is getting a sweet deal. China's getting the wheels greased for them. The way they did, by the way, under Donald Trump, who was a way cheaper date. $17 million in a secret account that he took $15 million out in cash. That's it. Because if you'll recall, if everything these guys say about COVID being a bioweapon from China is true, and they really believe this, that means Donald Trump was president during the worst bioweapon attack in American, if not world history, and his response to the attackers was to say their leader was doing a very professional job and selling them all of our beef, corn, pork, and soybeans. I mean, if they paid Biden $1 billion, they got fucked. Because, again, Trump did it on the cheap.
Okay, I'll pick 3 countries. Ukraine, where he admits he had no experience and made millions.
You don't need experience in oil and gas to be an investment broker. You don't. You sit there, you're on the board, you go, okay, can I see the books? Yeah. All right. You know the money we said is supposed to go to new wells? Yeah. Is it going to new wells? Yes, it is. What about the stuff that's going to build pipelines? That's going to build pipelines? Yes, it is. That's why. The reason they wanted to use his company and the reason the Biden name was important was because he couldn't fuck off to Russia like everybody else. Burisma used to be one of the most corrupt oil and gas companies on earth. Now it's not. Again, if I put if somebody put a gun to your head and they said you have to invest all the money you've saved for your child's future on Burisma before Hunter Biden went there or after Hunter Biden worked there, which one would you choose? You would, of course, choose after, because you would make money on your investment.
Russia, millions, no experience. China, one.
Also, what do you mean no experience? What's the Russia no experience? Because the idea is that they did, like Rosemont Seneca did a series of investments for the mayor of Moscow's wife. And she, up till, I don't know, she vanished. She was the richest woman in Moscow because she turned in her husband, who was corrupt, but either not corrupt enough or too corrupt for well, I don't know what their fucking window is. But they scooped him up and fucked up. She was left with a bunch of money, but not enough and no means to grow it without her corrupt husband there. So she put that in Rosemont Seneca or whatever money she had into that, the $3 million of it, and said, make me some money on this. That doesn't mean you get to keep the $3 million. This is fascinating. This motherfucker is in New York City. Sean Hannity is in New York City. There is no fucking way that Sean Hannity, millionaire that he is, or just hanging around in New York as long as he had that close to fucking Wall Street, thinks that if an investor gives a broker money, the broker now gets to keep that money. Who the fuck believes that? Who even thinks like that? It's the goofiest shit. The same thing with the alleged China deal, which happened 3 years, I think, before Biden even worked with that company. But even still, let's say you believe China gave you the $1 billion. You get to keep a percentage of the profits. That's how investment works. If I invest the money for you and it makes money, I get to keep a portion of it. That's usually how those things work. If they gave him $1 billion and never expected anything back, again, it was a straight up bribe and they got screwed because whatever they were bribing him for, they didn't get it. And if anything, let's say they gave him $1 billion and said, how about if you got to do this? And if you don't change U.S. policy, we're going to release a bunch of ugly shit about your son, right? And that means Biden went, fuck you, and Hunter can handle it. And then these assholes are carrying, the Chinese blackmail right to market, right? Because again, if they were expecting to get something out of Biden, it's nowhere near what they got out of Trump. And it's the worst turn in U.S. policy towards China since before Nixon.
$5 billion deal, Bank of China. $5 million no interest forgivable loan.
Okay, all right, hold on.
$100,000 shopping spree. You look at these countries, hostile to America.
Ukraine is not hostile to America, just for the record. Like to clarify.
Hunter Biden, does it not stink to high heaven the millions of dollars that he and his family made?
And I don't know why this asshole's nodding, because no. If he made a bunch of money off, and specifically he's talking about Russia and China particularly, are we all of a sudden, is Biden acting any way close to receptive to China's moves the way Trump was? Anywhere, or Russia's for that matter especially. Anywhere fucking close.
Do you not see this as a serious need?
Don't say Nazis, you'll give Steve a boner.
See a serious need for investigation for influence peddling here?
If it is true, then why the hell hasn't the U.S. attorney told us over 2 years now that they have been probing Hunter Biden, that he's more than just a junkie or a whoremonger or all the other things
Geraldo,
that he demonstrates to the world in his shameful tapes? But it's not.
Steve Miller, that's a lot of money.
It is not national security.
They're
It's not
rolling
national
off
security.
the influence peddling.
National security.
This is, by the way, can I just say, reminder, this is awesome. They're so mad that Hunter Biden to them is like a giant Christmas gift sitting under the tree that was huge, like a fucking refrigerator box. And they were like, oh my God, greatest Christmas ever. And they unwrapped it, and inside was a slightly smaller box, and a smaller box, and a smaller box. And it just kept going down. Like, you guys, probably going to be a diamond ring at the end of it. And inside was a gift card to a recycling center. What's this for? Oh, if you use this, they'll come pick up all the cardboard from the boxes. Fuck you! Like that's what this is. Oh, it's so sweet.
Hillary, they're walling off the influence peddling, just like they did with Hillary, because the deep state...
The deep state Illuminati establishment, Rhino, DNC, the Pentaveret, lizard people.
Wants the influence peddling to continue because when they leave government, that's how they get rich.
Yeah, that's right. Biden's waiting till he leaves government to get rich. He never intended to leave government, you fuck. He only didn't run for president right after Obama because his son died. And also, I honestly believe he did not want to run against Hillary because he thought she could win, and he was like, a woman president would be fantastic. Genuinely. But the reason he didn't get into the primary and push for it was because his son was sick. And so he decided to go for the cancer moonshot afterwards. And At what point does this motherfucker think his son's not going to be in office? None of his kids are planning on being in office. Bo is the only one who had a shot, and he died. Who the fuck?
That's why it's called the swamp.
That's why it's called the swamp. It's called the swamp because it sounds murky and dangerous and septic and gross. And the great thing about a swamp is you can hide bodies in it and bullshit about what's in there, even while you have a cabin where you live as a poacher in it. It's a facade. The swamp idea is a fucking facade, just like establishment, just like all these fucking wall words that are there to make you think there's an opaque group of people behind this that you don't even understand, because you can fucking understand. You just have to pay attention. So what they do is they get these folks that are like got this like half-assed attention span about shit, just enough to get mad or just enough to get depressed about stuff, and then they can string them along by their fucking nose for years, going, oh, behind the scenes, there's a whole thing. It's the entire Alex Jones fucking business model.
Well,
see,
okay.
That rhetoric is why we get nothing done, because we can't focus on the fact that right now Russiagate is being exposed for all the world to see.
That we agree on, Geraldo. You are 100% right.
Was the malignancy
on that
of the
issue?
Trump
Geraldo's right. I agree
on that one area, but the rest of it, fuck them. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide on my slapdash functions. I have everything coming up on here. Hold on one second. There's I thought I turned the second name off. I mean, it's a little overkill, don't you think? Yeah, there you go. I turned that off earlier. Very confusing. Hi. And hi, chat room. Thanks for hanging in there. Honest to God, I have this, there's this ongoing thing. None of these assholes, and again, maybe it's, you know how they say, like, there's all those phrases, like, in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, or, in stocks, they're like, if everybody's buying, sell, and vice versa. That is, in many ways, the root of my absolute aversion to conspiracy theories these days. Because I gotta say, not only is it fucking tired, but, and there's been no there for so long. But on top of that, these conspiracies are an excuse for why these people fail to do what they promise. Because if you always have the swamp or the deep state or the rhinos or the blah, blah, blah stopping you, it would be easy to do if this mythical fucking gargoyle living in the woods, I would have found the best farmland. I would have found the best fruiting tree. I would have killed the biggest elk if it hadn't been for the gargoyle in the woods. And it's, these days, not only do conspiracies, deafen ears against reality, not only do they undermine anybody's kind of faith in regular life and other people, but it also, it's the biggest part of it is, it's a fucking excuse. Donald Trump was president of the United States of America for 4 fucking years. 4 years. Think about the next 4 years of your life and all the goals you set and stuff like that. And by yourself, stuff you intend or want to have happen in the next 4 years, stuff you're actually putting off because you're like, yeah, I'll get to that. I'll have plenty of time in 4 years. And this motherfucker had not only his own White House staff, which are under orders to carry out basically almost any whim he has within reason, but the substructure of the military and the DOJ and all these kind of things, that anything legit, legal, or constitutional, you could fucking swing for the fences. 4 fucking years. But not only was he stifled by this mysterious fucking deep state booty fucking who, which by the way was supposed to keep him from getting elected in the first place. Not only did everything, it's just he's such a genius, but he couldn't get past that wall. You might have looked at him and think this jackass is flailing and making shit up as he goes along and picking some of the dumbest ideas we've heard in years. And when he tries them out, they actually like the wall actually makes the border fucking worse than it was before. You might think that, but it's not that. It's the gargoyle in the fucking woods. Everything would be okay in your life, but for the gargoyle in the fucking woods. And I'm just tired of it, especially when these motherfuckers call us like snowflakes and say we're victims all the time, and you know that we don't take that they're the party of personal responsibility and all that shit. Stop blaming the fucking establishment or the deep state or the fucking Illuminati. It's embarrassing. And I'm just over it. And it's to the point where every time I hear somebody even start down that road, and it just sounds like they're just parroting Ron Paul shit from 2002, you're like, no. Extraordinary, what is it? Extraordinary tales, extraordinary assertions require extraordinary proof. And they never have any of it. There is enough anecdotal death, murder, destruction, warring, resource fights, good and bad corporations jockeying for an ever shrinking piece of the pie, fucking volcanoes, potential pandemics, all that kind of stuff. There's enough of those that you could just, if you can thread them all together and make this gigantic fantasy out of it. You'll never run out. There's always enough anecdotal evil that you can somehow go, oh, but this happened and then this happened and why was this happen? This because you have access to more information than anybody on the fucking earth in the history of humankind because you live right now. Humans are pattern-seeking animals, and you're gacked on fucking Ritalin and Adderall. That's why. Holy shit. Like, and at this point, maybe that's the biggest conspiracy of all. Is that they're just they've worked my conspiracy nerve all the way down to the nub, so that one day when there is a giant conspiracy, I'll just doubt it till it's too late. There was a show, if I may. There was a show on British television for years, and I love this show. If there's a show I want to do when I'm an old man, it's going to be a version of this show. It's called Connections, and they did a second one called Connections 2, which was even better. And what they did was the host would take 3 different inventions, or an invention, a historical turning point, like a war that was won or lost, or the ascension of a particular king, or the downfall of a particular ruler, or whatever, in different periods of time, and go, this is why you have a Xerox. Because at this point, this person, during the Bronze Age, discovered how to separate carbon out, and then that they used that technology for a long time, but it was stopped at this point because this king died, and something else took over, and everybody had forgotten about it for a long time, and then in 1952, this happened, and whatever. Connections would just go, if these things in history had not happened in the order they happened in, that you wouldn't have this thing. It was great. It was really terrific. Yeah, James Burke. Love that show. And Alex Jones and Stephen Miller and fucking all these assholes Russell Brand. Not only are they weaponizing fear, because it's a great way to make a fucking living. I was talking to Summer earlier today, and she does her Facebook videos and stuff, and she's having a great time doing it. But she did one of these videos, and there's a joke that they made a video version of where they just talk about it, and it was just another girl telling her a joke, which is she goes, you know why there's never a pregnant Barbie? Because Ken comes in a separate box, or comes in another box, and that's it's a gag. Okay. So they just did a video of it and posted it online of one person telling the joke to the other person. And a bunch of people jumped in and went, there was a pregnant Barbie. And there is. And it's fucked up. It's like, it looks like something from Aliens. It looks more like, looks like a Ripley doll because the belly comes off and it's like C-section Barbie. It's completely fucked up. And all these people were like, no, there was one. And she was like, she had so much engagement on this one. And I really realized that, like, the way you get engagement is by being wrong. like you will get more engagement, and it's probably why I've, my numbers grow slower than other channels. But one of the ways you can get a lot of attention is just say something really shitty and wrong, and then you'll get people who are just as shitty and wrong as you jumping in, and then you'll have everybody else who knows you're absolutely full of shit jumping in, and poof, you got double the audience. Outrageous. That's right. Yeah, the money in social media is being wrong. And I just like that. I just kind of occurred to me in watching this. And the same thing is true of like conspiracy theories, because they're unprovable and undisprovable. They're unfalsifiable. Like the atheist argument against the existence of religion is always that it's unfalsifiable. You can't prove that it doesn't exist, so therefore the essence is that it exists. And an unfalsifiable is a conversation, stopper, essentially. If you argue something that's unfalsifiable, you can't even have a discussion about it. That's what conspiracy theories are. And as a matter of fact, you could argue the conspiracy theories are a religion of the sort of new Darwinists. Are they all atheists? I can't tell. Are they fake Christians, a lot of them? Fuck yeah. But do they believe something's beyond death? It's hard to separate their bullshit from their truth. But they are definitely selling the idea that an unfalsifiable idea, because none of us are going to get to barge in on an Illuminati fucking eyes wide shut party, start throttling somebody and go, was that really a weather balloon at Area 51? Like, you know what I mean? So forever. Like it's just so fucking easy. Oh, somebody gifted a bunch of subs? I didn't see that. Bonnie, thank you. The gargle story is worth more than anything I've seen or heard this week. Oh, thank you. That's amazing. WTF, just watching them argue amongst themselves is adorable. I agree. Tony, thank you. Did I miss those? The gifted, maybe they haven't shown up yet. But anyways, thanks everybody, by the way, for supporting the show, gifting subs, being a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/HalSparks. You could do it monthly or yearly these days. I've added Midjourney and ChatGPT to the two Patreon servers, so you guys can mess around with those things without having to do it on the crowded website. Because one of the things about using like Midjourney or the image creator AIs is that everybody's using them in the same feed all at once. So if you ask for a picture, as you're waiting for it to come up, everybody else is too, and you're like, where the fuck was the thing I made? Right? So in the Discord that patrons have an access to, you guys you have to sign up to be, for a Midjourney account to use it, because it goes through that thing. But if you use it in the chat room, in the Discord, you'll have a lot more. It's easier. It's an easier thing. So anyways, I'm now operating on from the premise that not only are highly conspiratorial people, and I'm not talking about like businesses price fixing amongst themselves or regular run of the mill conspiratorial acts by business and whatever. I'm talking about the big spiderweb bullshit. They're in everything and everywhere, both sides of every war bullshit. Because it's like none of the people who say that None of the people that I've seen talk like that aren't selling something out of it. I'm just saying. They're all selling prepper shit and books about how to make money at the same time. And I'm like, what the fuck are you going to spend it on if the world's ending in a couple of years? I don't know what the fuck. It just drives me crazy. Anyways, I rant's over. I love you guys when you chat. Thanks for giving me letting me. By the way, yes, I have a new book out right now called The End of the World Isn't Half Bad. No. Yeah. So, also this, I have to wiggle this page every so often or the bottom half of it disappears. It's a weird thing that comes out of chat. Maybe it's just saying the chat, staring at the chat's going to kill you. Okay. Can we go to this? Here's another example. Amazon's deep government partnerships will ruin your life. Now, this is 15 minutes long, so we'll probably bail out halfway through. But just, you see what I mean? It's got this fucker. This video has 84,000 views. It's been up for a day. It is 1 million subscribers. Obviously, the Blaze Network has its, I guarantee there's some bought views there. It's a structure. The Blaze and Daily Wires, no way they're not buying shit off of like Indian watch farms where they got those rows of phones and somebody just walks along and taps on the video and that's what you're paying for. It's just fucking stupid. But I would, I need to dig into their vidIQ stuff. But still, that's even, and also the break between this, 1 million subscribers, but only 84,000 views. I just feel like if this was a real number, you'd have closer to at least half of it on the regular, right? Because, look at this Forbes one. Forbes breaking news, which is, I don't even know if this is associated with Forbes for real. It's got a check mark, but that doesn't mean it is. And it's all right-wing shit, by the way. The Forbes breaking news is the weirdest. It has almost nothing to do with the rest of Forbes, whatever, unless it's Steve Forbes just runs this thing. Oh, look, it's Richard Wolff. Anyways, 84,000 views. This Forbes, 269,000 views on this guy. Look at that right there. Now it's been up for 7 days, so there's more time, but still. Okay, here we go. Now this is, I'm sure that it's going to ruin my life by making me lazy. They're going to coat every cardboard box with fluoride. Probably that. Yeah?
Of the Riveter. She's really, I feel stupid sitting in the same room with her. She's a graduate.
Yeah, but that's in all fairness. How do you not feel that way everywhere else?
Of Emory University, NYU School of Law, practiced corporate litigation with a focus.
Oh, he's talking to somebody from a college today, so he's wearing his college TA who gets busted for sexually harassing students for grades outfit.
High profile First Amendment matter.
Just put that booger anywhere.
For over a decade in New York and then in Seattle. Mother of 4, contributor for Inc., the host of iHeartRadio's What's Her Story with Sam and Amy. She's raised $30 million in venture capital to grow the Riveter. She's also been published in the Washington Post, Newsweek, Seattle Times, and she's been all over the world speaking. Fortune's most powerful women. Jeez. Overachieve much, Amy?
No.
That's adorable. Does his wife know? I'm kidding. She's in studio though. That's a switch. Stu must be in traction.
So, Amy, you were on with us. By the way, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And you're sitting up taking nourishment. That's always good. You came in.
I'm assuming she was sick or something. Is that what that's a reference to?
For the Targets of Tyranny special, and we had been in correspondence for a while.
That's one of his chalkboard specials that he does, by the way. He does these hour-long, they're fucking embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what happened to you and your husband in Seattle with Amazon and the feds. Can you quickly just recap that for anybody who doesn't remember?
Yeah. So my husband worked for Amazon Web Services for nearly 8 years. If you don't know, AWS is a subsidiary of Amazon where the internet lives. Cloud computing lives in these big data warehouses across the world. My husband worked in real estate, helped scouting locations that would be good to build data centers and projects along those lines.
By the way, there's a giant company called Switch that's here in Vegas, and anybody who comes here, you might have seen their buildings look like they look like space stations. They look like docking ports for spaceships. When Summer and when she first got her house here, there was one of them. Now there's like 8. Yeah.
Left Amazon in 2019, and on April 2nd, 2020, the FBI knocked on our door. We learned then that my husband was being accused, at the time we didn't know by who, of a crime called private sector honest services fraud, which is depriving your private employer of your honest services. At the time, the FBI did not ask my husband what happened. It was clearly an accusation. And 2 months later, the government used civil forfeiture to seize all of our family's bank accounts.
Your bank accounts, your husband's, your joint, every.
Okay, so the idea is that while he was scouting these locations for Amazon, his employer, he was consulting for other companies that sniped these companies out from under Amazon and tossed him some cash. That's what that crime is basically, is that you are not doing the work you're supposed to be doing. You're getting paid to do that kind of work, and you are either committing fraud while you do it, which is why fraud is on there, or you're simply like lazy on a scale that they find out you didn't even show up, you weren't even doing anything, to the point of like they paid you a major salary, you can get sued for it or arrested.
Thing.
I mean, to the point, Glenn, the DOJ went into our law firm's client trust account and seized all of the money we had paid our lawyers.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And my husband at that point had never been charged with a crime. In fact, he never was ever charged with a crime.
And, well, okay. And?
Civil forfeiture is something the government can use. It's a tool, and they can seize your money, your home, your safe deposit box.
Squeeze you in every way they possibly can. And many times you don't get the money back.
You really don't. And we're kind of told, like, don't expect to ever get the money back no matter what.
That's craziness.
It is.
But
that's King George, Declaration of Independence style stuff.
Well, and the thing is, it's a tool, right?
Yes.
It's a pressure tool. So my husband had been accused on April 2nd, 2020, and the prosecutors wanted him to plead guilty to a crime. It was all very unspecific. It was unclear. And the crazy thing is that largely what my husband was being accused of, depriving Amazon of his honest services, related to actions my husband took after he didn't work at Amazon.
Which, by the way, again, think of this like somebody in the military or something that or Donald Trump, for example, the idea that he would give Russia what they want while he's there, and his reward for doing so would come after he was no longer president, when there were no more rules about him accepting pay from someone else. That's how it happens.
But anyway, we did fight, and we had 4 little girls. We sold our home, we sold our car, we liquidated our retirement, we borrowed money from family and friends to pay lawyers and to survive.
And didn't they go into your family's accounts too?
Oh my gosh!
Your
so
dad, or
my
something?
father, yeah. So my father was critically ill. He almost died. He actually got a life-saving kidney transplant in April of 2020, and 2 weeks later, the FBI emptied out his bank accounts. My husband and I had paid for his medical care. So he would have died if my mother couldn't help him pay his medical bills.
So,
no, he already had. Well, never mind. They're not going to stop giving you your, your rejection drugs.
Many times people see this and go, "Yeah, but there had to be something." You told the story of what that something is, and it revolved around a very expensive.
Also, for the record, this is Amazon's deep government partnerships could ruin your life. No. And it's, one of the reasons why, not just because I don't work for Amazon, and neither do you. Except, I mean, I guess I'm on Twitch. Does that count? But I think I'm giving a great service, if I may. Okay. But I suppose the other aspect is that the Biden administration and the Democrats just moved to get rid of non-competition clauses, which are, which stifle workers being able to move around. And a lot of Microsoft's early moves in destroying other gaming companies and things like Netscape was by hiring their programmers, making them sign a non-competition clause, putting them to work for a month, and then firing them and not having them on anymore sometimes for cause, sometimes, obviously not, so that they couldn't go back to work for who they were working for. Basically just gut the company of its best programmers.
Lawsuit from Amazon.
So to preface this, we had no idea what was going on. And the day the FBI showed up at our house, my husband hired criminal defense attorneys and said, please call Amazon and tell them I will come in and talk to them. I don't understand what's going on, but I have nothing to hide. And Amazon's lawyer said, we will only speak to him if he is pleading guilty to a felony. And at the time, we were like, what is going on? I mean, Amazon's lawyers squarely put the DOJ between the company and my husband. Very few companies have that kind of access to DOJ. Mm-hmm. And for an institution that's meant to be apolitical, that's wrong. It's just wrong. But what we learned over the course of years and spending a lot of lawyer money is that in February 2020, Amazon broke a contract with a real estate developer. And by the explicit terms of that contract, unless they could prove the developer committed a felony crime, they were going to owe him over $100 million in damages. The next day, after they broke the contract, they had their first meeting with the Department of Justice. They met with the Department of Justice over 100 times, trying to lobby.
Because it was a contract your husband helped set up, and it turned out to be a lie or not as valuable or useless to their, like, that's what it sounds like. He picked sites for them to build cloud service places. So we're supposed to just think that the real estate deal, he had no part in that. They just needed a scapegoat for somebody. And so they picked somebody who used to work for the company.
For criminal charges. The government spent countless FBI hours and prosecutors' hours, like essentially doing Amazon's bidding. And what we do know is despite all of the things that Amazon told the government, they never told the government that they had broken a contract and needed a felony, or they would be liable for $100 million in damages.
So you decided to fight.
Yes.
I mean, you guys are fighters. You decided to fight. It has cost you a great deal. Your husband, nor you or anybody else, has ever been charged. You thought this was kind of wrapping up, and then you came on the special. And I think I may have said, are you sure you want to come on? And I know I said, I hope nothing happens because of this. The day after, coincidence?
I don't really believe in coincidences anymore,
Okay.
but the day after, the Department of Justice subpoenaed Amazon for all of the documents that Amazon had that had been produced in this civil litigation. Because after Amazon failed to get criminal charges, they sued my husband. And I'll note something about that I think, Amazon didn't anticipate. But usually when you're accused of a crime, you never get to see the communications between your accuser and the Department of Justice. Mm-hmm. And in this civil case, because Amazon sued my husband was able to see all those communications. Mm-hmm. And they're very shocking. And I mean, to me as a lawyer, I was floored by the things that have been made public that I've been able to see.
Why? What was seen?
Amazon hired a former federal prosecutor from the Eastern District of Virginia. They paid him millions of dollars to lobby his former colleagues for criminal charges. The current prosecutors in Virginia
also
immediately.
For the record, again, none of us are shocked by, I think, giant corporation does sketchy, dickish stuff, or employees for giant, sketchy company at times gets in giant financial fight with big, sketchy company, and both of them are pointing fingers at each other and the like. And the idea that a company that employs that many people would have the ear of regulators over a local mom and pop, for example, is not shocking either. What I fail to understand is this shit. Amazon's deep government partnerships could ruin your life. Did he write this to her?
in Amazon for a meeting. They set up a meeting with the prosecutor's press office because clearly this was going to be such a sexy and scandalous case. They never checked anything Amazon said. They never asked to see my husband's terms of employment or his non-compete. Like, they just didn't ask to see it. Amazon said they had paid this real estate developer $16 million. Amazon had paid the real estate developer $0. So nobody ever checked anything. They just went for it.
Because it was really literally an old boys network.
I mean,
I know you, you know me. Just this is a problem.
I mean, we have an email that's now in the public docket in Virginia where Patrick Stokes, Amazon's lawyer, asked his former colleague, Jessica Aber, who's now the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, who just sued Amazon's main rival, Google. And Pat Stokes said to Jess Aber, we want to talk to you about civil assets.
Oh, dear. Now Glenn has to defend Google.
Forfeiture. Prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia have not used civil asset forfeiture outside of a drug case in 13 years that I can find.
So this is now being looked at again for the second time?
You know, I really think that Amazon keeps pushing DOJ to try to do something, and DOJ isn't doing anything except kind of, just the investigation just kind of hangs out there because it's a threat, right? And unless Amazon can get a felony conviction of this real estate developer, they are going to be liable for damages.
By the way, it's like the most profitable company in the world. And I'm sure part of that is by not parting with millions of dollars if they don't have to. But this seems like a lot more trouble than just taking the real estate developer to court and finding some way out of it. Does that seem, think about all the times Trump has fucking wiggled out of his obligations on a real estate deal. I honestly, I not knowing enough about this, and knowing the problem I have is, she seems lovely, but the fact that she's going to Glenn Beck with this story and Glenn is carrying it is the primary thing that makes me dubious that I'm being had. That this is, a manipulation scheme, and he's a part of it. I'm just
all right. So the reason we talked about this, you mentioned this, but I have been seeing more and more stories about people from the DOJ going to work right directly to the Pentagon and people from the intelligence agencies. This is terrifying.
Going straight to the Pentagon, or you mean working for Amazon? Did he mean to say Amazon?
Because there is a public-private partnership that
there's no public-private partnership between the DOJ and the Pentagon. That would be a public-public partnership.
You should be very aware of. Our DOJ, our national security agencies, all of them are using Amazon as their cloud bank. When you have that, you have control of the...
Hang on. How many of you want to bet...
Government or the...
Hold on. The Blaze's servers are through AWS.
Government has control of you. At best, if one doesn't have something over the head of the other, they're partners in everything.
All right, again, this is where it gets into the, he's involved in these kind of choices for the company. The company takes either his advice or counsel to make one of these choices. They find out the choice is terrible. They want to get out of it, and they think he was getting his back rubbed by this asshole who they end up making the deal with afterwards, and they go after them because he's the one that got them into this $100 million mess and then skated off, and he might have some money in his bank account from that guy to squeeze this deal through. And this lady isn't showing up on CNN or one of those other sites to go, hey, what the hell, like any of us would do. She's on Glenn Beck's fucking show. And it's not like she wouldn't have access. It's weird. Like, this is very much a story I can imagine somebody, and then the public backlash, if she was on any of these regular networks, or even the fucking local news in Seattle or wherever they live now. Anyways, yeah, I gotta say, I just feel like there's details being left out on purpose. Yeah, the story is her husband, not her. Why is he not talking about it? Is he telling her everything? Like, there's so much. It's just all, it's hinky as fuck. And then the fact that he uses it to try to like, and you need to be afraid because you might wake up one day engaged in double dealing with real estate firms that you don't tell your family about because you've got another family stashed away in Romania that you haven't told them about, and that those are expensive bills, so you're having to create another revenue stream so you can just buy health insurance and toothpaste for the kid she doesn't know about, and she's going to go out and defend you until basically you roll up the ladder and fuck off out of town. So anyways, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. That's like, again, as softball conspiracies go, that one's pretty impressive. Now, the next piece is how do I put this? We need to ease into this because, quite frankly, this next piece is something we've all seen before, so it shouldn't be shocking. It shouldn't be upsetting. It's ultimately a good sign because once the conversation gets this desperate, that's how you know the side I'm about to show you knows they are losing the argument. When they get this riled up, this is how you know they know they're losing. And of course, we're talking about Jimmy's drop off and show up on Tuckums, where the pro-Russian contingent on Twitter and other sites are applauding this as he goes on and spreads the anti-war message. Now, I don't know how many people in the audience were born yesterday or slept through last year entirely. Like fell asleep December 31st of 2021 and just woke up right now and, oh my God, what's happening? To you guys, I can understand how you might think that there's actually a point being made here or there's some theory. These are details you couldn't possibly know because you were out cold, that you might just believe any of this. I'm fascinated. I know we've seen him yell this shit before, but we haven't seen him yell at it,
So last night I went on
double butt crack McGee.
this guy's show, Tucker Carlson's show. And
Yeah, you look exhausted. It must have been a rough.
it's nice
Done.
they send a van to the house. I don't even have to go in. So
Really?
it's really convenient. And
They sent a van to the house for Jimmy Dore. I don't even have to go in. It's really convenient. Well, at least we know he'll go to the ends of the earth to say his truth.
but they don't anyway. You know me, I worry about lighting. Anyway, Tucker definitely has better lighting than me. But anyway, so I'll play it for you.
It's your house. It's your house. You have lights. You have this. He's got this fucking studio. There is no they. This is your fault.
Because
But please keep whining.
and so I went on. It was perfect. So we're doing this anti-war rally on February 19th.
Which is, by the way, a pro-Russia rally.
And at the Lincoln thing and the thing in
At the Lincoln thing.
DC, and I forgot to mention it. I go on. He lets me talk. We're talking about war for 3 minutes straight, and
You could talk about war for 3 minutes straight? Holy smokes. Did you even get through the Athenians?
I'm trying to remember all the stuff I wanted to say, and then I get to the end, and I'm like, okay, I think I'll end it there. And then I thought he'd ask me one more question, and I was going to look at my notes to make sure, and he didn't. He just blah, 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 and that was it. And I was like, oh, I looked at my notes, like, oh, fuck.
That's because you're not there for you, Jimmy. You're there for him. He's promoting Russia's talking points, and you came there to help. You are fucking toilet paper. Tucker Carlson wipes his ass with you and says shoo. This isn't your moment on Tucker Carlson. This is Tucker Carlson's moment to use you. That's how it works. He doesn't give a rat fuck if you promote what you're doing. He's not there because he's interested in what you're doing. He's not even interested in the why. He knows you will do one fucking thing. He just has to wind the key in your back and let you go. And you're only useful for that part. You shit on Democrats and you root for Russia. That only takes 3 minutes.
Forgot to. If someone else had done that, I would never let them forget about it. I would so fucking bust their butt. You didn't talk about the thing. You're talking about
the great.
But it's Tucker, so yeah. So you're saying that you would yell at and shit on anybody except Tucker Carlson.
When I brought up the great Jon Stewart Nazi medal article, I still feel bad I didn't bring it up. We posted. He had it on the screen.
Oh.
But we didn't. Think to say.
So, anyways,
it's a sad day to be Kurt.
Just want to play. So,
because the day ends in Y.
I think this segment speaks for itself.
You can be outraged by the people running our country selling out our country to
China by enforcing the CHIPS Act and making people who work for Chinese tech companies choose between working for them or their U.S. citizenship. Again, I don't know what the fuck. Like, at this point, does he only have a crowd of people who just ignore all this shit? Has he ever done a story about the AUKUS agreement of the CHIPS Act? Or the factories that are being built in fucking Arizona? It's weird. It's like such a gap. It'd be one thing if it was like, like one carrier plant like Trump had, and so you're like, well, I suppose they could be doing more, and this looks like just it might be a facade or whatever, but we have fucking ships circling Taiwan right now. What the fuck?
Should be, but that's a very different thing from wanting to go to war with China.
War?
A war that we have no assurance we would win, to put it mildly.
Yeah, we would. No, I will not put it mildly either. There's no China would have no shot. They would lose millions of people in a fucking heartbeat. It would be very weird and sad. None of their shit works. It would be Russia in Ukraine on a massive fucking scale. Again, they have 2 aircraft carriers. None of their planes can launch from them. And they can only go 500 miles from shore without having to be refilled. They run on diesel, so they crank smoke, and you can track them anywhere. And one of them used to be a casino.
But in a memo to his troops, 4-star Air Force General Mike Minahan wrote this, quote, "My gut tells me we will fight in 2025. Xi Jinping secured his 3rd term and set his war council in October 2022. Taiwan's presidential elections are in 2024 and will offer Xi a reason. U.S. presidential elections are in 2024 and will offer Xi a distracted America. Xi's team, reason, and opportunity are all aligned for 2025. So what should we take of this? Again, you can be deeply skeptical, in fact, hostile toward China, and still be worried about going to war with China.
Hey, asshat, this isn't about us going to war with China. This is about China attacking an allied country, which is what Taiwan is. And blitz bombing millions of Chinese people for no fucking reason. The one China policy that we always hear about Taiwan always leaves out one factor, and this is largely because the United States looks at the Chinese as a cultural ethnicity and a country. And so the conversation is always watery because Taiwanese people are ethnically Chinese. They are genetically Chinese. They are culturally and linguistically Chinese. However, they are not Chinese from China. They are not subjects of China. They never were. CCP has never been in control of Taiwan. Not a fucking day. Never was. It's where Chiang Kai-shek ran when the nationalist government split. That's the difference. There is no reunification because there was no unification in the first fucking part. And the idea is that we're going to let one of the most technologically influential countries on the planet get swallowed up by an increasingly hegemonic and violent regime in its death throes. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Jimmy Dore is the host of the Jimmy Dore Show. He joins us tonight to assess. Jimmy, should we be paying attention to a memo like this? What do you think it means?
Okay, first of all, generals all the time will talk to the troops about all potential conflicts and preparation for them. It's their fucking job. That's why it's a memo to the troops and a memo to the other commanders and not a public statement from the podium of the DoD press room.
What I think it means is that the United States is trying to provoke and sable rattle with another nuclear.
Sable rattle? Are we wagging furs at the Chinese? Are they anti-fur now? And I didn't catch that part.
Power, right? This is what we were supposed to be afraid of was going to happen with Donald Trump, right? We couldn't have, he's a crazy man who's going to have his finger on the nuclear button, and now we have Demented Joe who is saber rattling with...
Demented Joe. Again, this is why Jimmy is on Tucker. Yeah. Because he defends Donald Trump and he vilifies Biden for being demented and dangerous and about to start a war because a general thinks the potential for China to attack Taiwan is very high.
Nuclear powers, and they get the corporate media sponsored by the military-industrial complex to get America.
And by the way, I think that's just a freeze frame of Tucker. I think he went to take a shit.
To cheer it on. Why do Americans cheer it on? Because they have no idea what's actually happening with their foreign policy, and what's worse is they have no idea.
Yeah, they have no idea. And mostly because they watch my show, and I tell them something, and it's not even close to what's going on. Yeah, that's the.
They have no idea that they don't have any idea what's happening with their foreign policy.
They have no idea that they have no idea.
We have.
By the way, that's the miserable liberal and Kurt, I guess, laughing at this over the audio. So, in case you think the people at Tucker Show suddenly developed a sense of humor
military
or lack thereof, I guess.
Bases surrounding China since the Korean War. Do we really think that China is getting ready to invade the United States? Because I tell you, they're not. They make
No. What? Where the fuck did this dickhead get the idea that our concern is they're going to invade the U.S.? The idea is that they're going to invade Taiwan. And we have said we will help protect them because they are a sovereign country. And Jimmy's basically, he's so, quote, anti-war that if somebody else starts a war and starts murdering everyone, the quickest way for the war to be over is to just let it happen. This is, Jimmy Dore's logic is, if the rape victim stops fighting back, it stops being rape and starts being sex. And he's anti-rape that way. That's the argument. That's the logic. That's absolutely the standard. That's exactly what he thinks of Ukraine. It's exactly what he thinks of Taiwan, or quite frankly, any other country that the U.S. or the UN or the fucking UK or any of our allies might come to the defense of. That the sooner you give up fighting, it stops being a war and it's just murder and, none of our fucking business.
We use in the United States. Why? Because the same people who want this war are the same people who took the good jobs that are manufacturing jobs in America, turned them into low-paying, crappy jobs, and then shipped them to China. And then we get angry at them for the system that we set up. If they're so corrupt, because that's the thing, America.
Also, the military-industrial complex is the last technological arena, business-wise, to send anything over to China to get built. And I guess it's the idea that the politicians themselves set up this stuff over there and allowed this to happen so that it wasn't Americans who wanted cheap goods. And the idea that as China opened up, it was starting to liberalize and it was bringing people out of poverty and it was a win-win. Even if the trade imbalance was there, most of us were like, it's not the greatest thing, but it's cheaper because it's built in China and China's flourishing. Look at all the buildings. Look at all the people coming out of poverty. They're building bullet trains now. Good for them. And it's just worldwide business, just global supply chains. And now not only was there a switch when Xi Jinping took power and an absolute flip of how the government reacts towards every country in the world, not just the United States, in terms of business, but how they treat their own people. And that made the difference. And one of the reasons that the jobs are coming home is because businesses over time are having a harder time with their customer base not being cool with that.
No idea how corrupt their government is. They think our government's just regular corrupt, like, oh, Trump gave his son a job or Biden gave his kid a no-show job in the Ukraine war. That's not, the whole thing is corrupt. The $800 billion military budget is $800 billion of corruption. Why do we have to have 900 military bases around? We're the ones provoking this war.
Also, shipping lanes. Honestly. Shipping lanes. That's what most of our Navy does. Most of our air bases do. Basically, we became the National Guard. Everybody's like, we shouldn't be the policemen of the world. We're not. We're the National Guard of the world. And increasingly, we're not doing that anymore. We're being very choosy about where that is. And it's interesting to me that both of these motherfuckers will not recognize that Trump, multiple presidents ran on or said they would get us out of Afghanistan, and Biden did. And yet they still do this whole forever war thing. There are no American boots on the ground that aren't, that have been sent by the government. They're there because they want to be. Individuals.
We provoked the war in Ukraine. We are now provoking a war.
Yeah, we provoked the war in Ukraine by being in NATO and being okay with Nazis.
China, and who benefits? I'll tell you right now. Your enemy is not China. Your enemy is not Russia. Your enemy is the military-industrial complex, which has been fleecing this country to the tunes of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. How many times are we going to have a defense secretary say, "Hey, we can't account for $2 trillion in the Pentagon again"? Which has happened twice now in my lifetime. So again, people.
No, it's not that they can't account for it. They can't tell you. You're talking about decades of military technology and investment and building stuff and prototyping and where stuff is placed in the world. And if you could tell people how it was spent, you would tell them where it was spent and when it was spent and who worked on it. And that tells your enemy who's doing it. And that's part of the whole Pentagon thing. Again, the idea that there's a $500 hammer or a $2,000 toilet, it's a shuffle to hide the money from the enemy.
The war machine cannot be stopped. Who's running this country? The war machine. It certainly isn't Joe Biden making these decisions. I would like to know who is making the decisions. And I just want to remind everyone.
Also, was the war machine running it when Trump ran things? Again, how do the all-powerful suddenly not be all-powerful when it's a guy you like, and suddenly get their power back when it's a guy you don't? It could never be reality. It could never be that it's part and parcel to the circumstance we're in because the world is a fucked up, messy place. It's always got to be the fucking Illuminati.
Buddy, the United States is the world's terrorist. We just set the Middle East on fire in the last 20 years, and now we're doing a proxy war in Ukraine, which we provoked, NATO provoked, and it was just admitted that we provoked it by the former Prime Minister of Germany, and now we're trying to save with China, and they're predicting a war. Again, China's not going to invade us. China's not our enemy. We might have an economic war.
Also, China is our enemy. They're just not going to ever invade us militarily because they couldn't. It's not about them invading us. It's about Taiwan. And that interesting straw man that he sets up that talks about basically just this is the isolationism of it. He's like, if they attack Taiwan, none of our fucking business. Let them do it. Let those people die. We have the means to help them. We have the partnerships and the relationship with that country. But it's more of a sin to help those people than it is to just watch them get murdered, watch them get slaughtered. Again, for the record, Jimmy does not believe the Tiananmen Square massacre happened. Flat out. Does not believe the Tiananmen Square massacre happened. Does not believe that the Xinjiang forced labor camps. Doesn't believe in forced sterilizations happening there. Doesn't believe that there's a Han Chinese installed in households to make sure they don't procreate. And quite frankly, may indeed themselves be procreating with the women, the ones that are allowed to have children. Doesn't believe any of that. He's never been to China. He's never been to Russia. He's never been to Europe, as far as I fucking know. Period. But he believes, and this, again, this goes beyond the whole America love it or leave it idea. I can't be clearer about this. It's one thing to think you're not patriotic because you think patriotism is silly or whatever. It's just a country, and getting riled up in that shit is not important, and blah blah blah. And I don't like what's going on, so I just kind of stay out of its zone of disliking your country. It is very different to have that feeling, which a lot of like right wingers would say, America love it or leave it, and tell them to fucking move to wherever, go back to commie Russia or some shit. There's a difference between that and absolutely thinking that you live in the country that is the biggest force of evil in the world and is the progenitor of all violence on the planet, which Jimmy absolutely believes. There would be no war or violence if the United States ceased to exist tomorrow. That is absolutely the Jimmy Dore position. It's a bizarre fantasy world that he or at least that's what he's selling. I don't know what he actually believes, because he's, a lot of times it's just he believes that his shouty voice is better than his talking voice. That may be the extent of it. But to believe that about the country, this country, and then to live comfortably in it, in a wealthy area of Los Angeles, in a $1 million plus home, is a level of hypocrisy that peaks the fucking meter. Clayton Morris, who fled the United States because of fraud charges and shit like that in Indiana, but for that, or let's say Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald arguably has more credibility on this matter than Jimmy does, because he lives in Brazil. He and his husband moved to Brazil to start a porn industry, and then The Intercept, after a billionaire gave him millions of dollars. But he left the country. He went, I'll do this from somewhere else. Jimmy's never going to do that. There is no version of reality where Jimmy or Lee Camp,
That's what these are,
or any of these fuckers move out of the country, much less move to Russia or to China. I haven't been to Russia, but I sure as it have been all over China. And it would be fucking hilarious to see Jimmy go to China for a week and come back. And no guide, no like somebody from the propaganda industry, showing him the sights. Just tourist. Just go dangle for a while. And then come back and say this again. Especially now. 25 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, if you went there, and I went, before I even shot the show that I did there, I was spending time there off and on over the years, or like the first decade of the millennium. I've been there several times, and I could see the sea changes, but I was also like, everything was kind of relatively normal, and it kind of moved. You knew there was a certain level of Guanxi corruption everywhere, and everybody else did, but it was like low level stuff. Bribing stuff about zoning things. Then it became bribing things about, a cop leaving you alone to do something else. Then it became bribing the governor's assistant to keep them from looking at your factory while you made fentanyl analogs. And that's where it is right now. It's a huge difference.
These are economic wars. These are wars in Ukraine. It's about liquefied natural gas and making sure Germany.
Oh, this is the idea. He goes, it's about the United States, that Germany gets American liquefied natural gas. The biggest source that they get is from, I believe, the Netherlands.
And Russia never come together because we fear Russia's natural resources and manpower, and we fear them getting together with Germany with their technology and their capital. And so that's why we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. That's why
we didn't blow up the Nord Stream pipeline. And also, he thinks this is really about us worrying about Germany and Russia getting together on an industrial level. That's a new one. That's next level bullshit.
Doing the Ukraine war. This is all about hegemony, imperialism,
and also Illuminati and deep state and hegemony imperialism. Again, America, if you'd only been truly the imperial nightmare that he says you are, we would have owned Germany right now and Japan, and we would have kept that Russian oil and gas out of there all these years because we would have controlled the territory. But we had to just, after World War II, we had to let them go about their business.
Economics. And if there's a Marine somewhere, it's there because they're about to steal some natural resources from another country. As everybody's...
Yes, Marines are just the getaway driver for oil and gas companies.
About what a bad guy Putin is for invading Ukraine, the United States is currently occupying a third of Syria. And which third is that? It's the third that has the oil. And
the oil revenues go to the Kurds.
How do I know we're there to steal their oil? Because the President of the United States said so.
No, he did not.
We're not even benefiting economically. Of course, that's the rub. Jimmy.
Up, see that? Look at that, Jimmy. He let you go on your rant, and then he knifed your tires on the way out, and then didn't let you promote shit. We're doing this all for money, and we're not even making money out of it. Good night. Oh man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. My pleasure.
Oh, he gave you time. You should have said, "Don't forget." That was the gap of time, Jimmy, when you could have gone. By the way, I want to remind everybody. He said, "Thank you." That means it's over. You had a few seconds. Never mind. You were ranting.
I like to really drag. Oh, you can come to me. I like to really drag that out.
I would have forgot to plug the mortgage as well because that's a lot of. I don't know. You got that all out.
I don't know.
What are you talking about? It's the same shit he says all the fucking time. He's done that rant on 8 different podcasts, almost word for word. Again, it felt like he was running it like a bit for when comics used to do Carlson. They'd have to run the same 5 or 7 minute bit at the clubs over and over and over again, so the booker could go, okay, they got it down, it's smooth, there's no ruffles, you can go do it, and do it exactly that way. Write it down, word for word, that's what we want to see.
I just start going. Anyway, so there it is. And by the way, I would love to say that stuff on MSNBC, CNN, ABC. They will never have me on. The only person in the...
Yeah, that's because of the whole, like, Anna Kasparian sexual harassment shit, largely.
Corporate news that will have a message like that
is somebody who wants Russia to win. Weird.
Who hosts for Fox News and
has been rooting for Putin the entire time.
Coincidentally, has the #1 news show in America.
I was going to say he has better ratings. Why would you go on the best rated one?
So
yeah, obviously that's where the ratings are.
on the number one news show in America, and then I get to also go on the number one podcast in America or in the world.
In the world.
So I think it's okay. So thanks to Tucker for bringing me on and having that message to his audience, which needs to hear that China and Russia are not your enemy. They need to hear it. They got to hear it. And thanks to Tucker to let me say it.
Well, you know what's so funny is like they're not going to invade the United States. People are like, oh, if they invade Taiwan,
that's not invading the United States. Yeah,
we have to go. Taiwan, the United States, not me. No, the United States, it belongs to them.
It belongs to Taiwan.
So
no. Having a one China policy is not saying that Taiwan belongs to China. That's not what the one China policy says.
Talking about, to China.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we officially said that. This whole time, I've only heard if they invade Taiwan.
It's one China policy. So that means the United States acknowledges that China owns that they're part of that.
No, it doesn't.
It's
a cultural thing. It started in the fucking 70s when there was no modern China.
There's a movie in China that's like their version of Rambo called Wolf Warrior. Okay.
Yes, and this is the next movie that Jimmy and Kurt will mutually masturbate each other while watching.
And it's a lot of stuff about like how they're nicer in Africa, and then they fight a capitalist bad guy. But it's like Rambo. It's just like how Rambo is.
No, it is not. It's nowhere fucking near Rambo. I don't know if anybody's seen Wolf Warrior. Any of those situations, there is no part in it where, like, literally in Rambo 3, he's in Afghanistan, and the movie is fucking dedicated to the people of Afghanistan. It is the proud people of Afghanistan, and it stands with the fucking Yusufzad and groups that would become the Mujahideen later on. And it's about like villages that are being fucking wiped out and that kind of stuff. And he's fighting for them, and he's got his own people are not letting him fight, or he refused to go in the first time because he doesn't think it's an important thing, and then he gets drawn into it because they take Troutman or whatever, and he decides to go in after his friend, and then he goes, somebody says early on, it's not your war, and then he says it is now because he was there at this battle, and he watched children being strafe bombed and whatever. In Wolf Warrior, none of the Chinese superiors differ with the main dude. They're all on mission Super China, and like, if somebody has a Taiwan patch, they'll get murdered. It's the goofiest. It's absurd. Like the Rambo one, like the second and third one aren't even jingoist. None of the Rambo movies are rah-rah American movies. That's the irony of them. Because in all cases, there's like military corruption, or the guys want to leave the MIAs behind, and he's forced to go in against his own government's wishes to get those guys out because they're more important than policy and international diplomacy. None of those fucking movies are like, they're always mistaken for these like jingoistic super America movies. Wolf Warrior absolutely is that. I'll tell you what, he's right in one respect, is that when Kurt Metzger, with his smooth brain, watches Wolf Warrior, he sees the same thing that's in the Rambo movies because he's incapable of that distinction.
Have a thing called Wolf Warrior diplomacy, which is like when I think of that Dippy General, all that thing he was saying, there's a bunch of politicians that are like that. And I watched a whole video about China has these Wolf Warrior diplomats. Like,
yeah, guys, he watched a whole video. Okay. And look at Jimmy. Jimmy's like, all right, that's all I need. Look, I could say this. I'll just repeat what he says. He watched a whole video.
Everything we say sounds exactly like what they say.
Yep.
No, it does not. And what do you mean, yep? It fucking does not. It's not even close. What he's talking about is like that general, that memo from the general saying it looks like they're going to attack in 2025, and we got to be prepared because if we're going to defend them, or if we have to defend them, that's what we're going to be ramping up towards. China just says, Taiwan's ours, fuck you. And the U.S. is full of fat murdering hypocrites, and and we can wipe you out in a second. And also, the Han Chinese are the superior race of all humankind. But then that sounds a little Nazi-ish to me, but never mind. Kurt saw a whole video. Kurt told Jimmy he saw a whole video. He summarized it, and now Jimmy knows something.
The 2 years are going to have a war.
They're going to have a war.
They're going to have a blue water navy to challenge us on the high seas.
A blue water navy.
That means they can leave the China area with their navy.
Navy. Hey, we're doing live stand.
Also, no, he isn't. Also, it's interesting to me. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he stopped doing flappers. Kudos to flappers. And has started doing this little Two Roads place, which is just like 5 doors down from this little juice place and this coffee place I like. And I think in Studio City, it's a little black box theater. It's a really strange choice. Really strange. And then he's doing single dates because these are special events. So I think he's probably not booking them. It looks like he's two-walling them. I'll take the tickets, you take the food kind of stuff. But that struck me as weird. I was at that juice place not too long ago, and that little theater, and it looked like it was closed. Looked like it would, it had been, one of these places that collapsed under COVID. Because there's a bunch of comedy clubs in the Valley. There's Ha Ha and of course Flappers, and then there's what the fuck is there? I haven't even been there in years. And then there's obviously the Improv and the Laugh Factory and shit like that. It's interesting to me.
Comedy in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's not in Los Angeles. That's in Studio City. It's in the Valley, and it's a weird, tiny little theater. It struck me as really odd when I saw it. Anyways, by the way, hi chat room. Just saying, he's doing comedy noir. Yeah, you should go there and sit in the front row and heckle. I am tempted. I am very tempted to go to that show because I was gonna do a while back. In many ways, I have been. I wanted to go to. The clip was too loud. I'm sorry. I beg your pardon, because it's the same on my end. I apologize. Did it blast? Apologies. I should check with you guys because it's all different in there. I'll look. I'll be sure to check. This is a new setup. I'm sorry about that, guys. Boo hoo. I'm sorry. Yeah, my green screen. If I rotate, it's just a circle on the back of my chair. So I'm working on it. I'm quiet. They're loud. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll work on. Like I said, yeah. Scroll up. Okay, sorry. You're good. Studio City is technically LA, while Flappers is Burbank. Not to anybody who lives there. It's the fucking Valley. Kurt's not a Jehovah's Witness. We are nihilists, Lebowski. We believe in nothing. All right, so let's see. We good on time? Okay, yeah. I'm still a little bit over, but let's see. There was one more. There's this shit. And there's this thing. Okay, so a couple of things. Urban Chicken Farmer, Florida. Danny Balls, this dude, who's one of the most if Greg Kelly is the most miserable man on the internet, Danny Balls is the most exasperated. I mean, it's like, okay, that kind of like frustrated, exasperated bullshit take on everything. All right, this is Real America. Dan Ball with Connor Blackman. What's going on with all the egg shortages? What is the deal? Why is Biden keeping America from their eggs? This is going to be as good as Glenn Beck's take on economics. Wish me luck. Fucking hell.
So you may know about this next story. Maybe you haven't. There's a major egg shortage in this country. Now we're being told the cause is from the largest global bird flu outbreak in recorded history.
But we all know that's bullshit because now that they've lost access to babies because Amy Coney Barrett and Trump stopped all the adrenochrome factories, they're getting them from eggs. They're scaring chickens and getting the adrenochrome from the
combined with, of course, inflation. And that's why we're seeing this drastic jump. Can we also talk about, though, supply chain and increased costs like fuel, feed, packaging, everything else that comes with inflation?
Packaging.
A regime that doesn't have a clue about how to fix the economy?
Well, I don't know. First of all, I mean, they can't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can add that in. I think so.
Sure. Nothing else's packaging apparently is adding to its cost prohibitively, but sure.
But anyway,
yes,
eggs.
Interesting. Cornflakes aren't having a box problem.
We know are a staple. They have been in this country forever.
No, they have not. As a matter of fact, there were wars, like gun battles, over eggs in the waters off San Francisco, between San Francisco and the Farallon Islands, between like Irish immigrants and Italian immigrants who were fighting over eggs to sell to high-end hotels in San Francisco because there were no fucking chickens in the United States. We brought them here. Chickens aren't even natural. The chickens that we eat and the chickens that lay the eggs that we they're a crossbreed. They weren't here forever. We didn't discover fucking the open plains of chickens. Are you out of your fucking mind? This asshole probably thinks bananas were always yellow.
I mean, you probably have neighbors that have a couple of them, a couple chickens, just so they can have their own eggs, right?
No, I do not. I when I was growing up, we had chickens and our neighbor had chickens, but we lived in BFE.
But there's folks in the egg industry right now scratching their heads, saying, I don't know.
Maybe they're scratching their nests.
Something's going on here. I mean, in some stores across America, they're actually putting limits. It's kind of like during COVID with the toilet paper. Remember that? It would say 1 4-pack of TP per customer. I saw it in my local...
Yeah, I think that lasted 48 hours.
Vaughn's or Ralph's not too long ago. It literally said you can only buy 2 cartons of eggs.
Oh, so he's in California. Interesting.
Per day, per customer.
He's in California. Can I put a pin in that for later? This fucking... Is he down in San Diego? Is that what this is? Is that where... Because that's where RAV's funding comes from. So is he just... That's how he got hired out of local TV in fucking San Diego? Fucking...
Why are they doing that?
Because there aren't enough eggs to go around.
Egg prices have spiked.
6%
since the same time last year.
You mean before the H5N1 spread throughout the entire country, killing 50 million birds? You don't say.
So average, $1.71, $2 around, right? About a year, 18 months ago. Now in some states, folks are paying $5 to $7. You heard me, for a dozen eggs. That's insane.
Yeah, it won't last. And then there's going to be a glut of eggs, and then everybody's going to be eating fried eggs and egg soup with egg sauce on them because they catch up and everybody's like, whoa, fuck. I don't know.
Also, let's talk about, besides bird flu, price increase, supply chain issues.
Eggspiracy. Massive fire destroys commercial egg farm belonging to top U.S. supplier. Obviously, they're burning down their own factories to help them make money.
Why is it there are more fires, explosions, attacks on different companies?
Oh, shit, you got me. I don't know. Does anybody in the chat room speak gibberish? Why are there more fires, explosion, and attacks on different companies? That he said that out loud.
Supply chain issues. Mm-hmm. Why is it there are more fires, explosions, attacks on different companies?
I don't know. Some people don't like the prices. Other people, the foreman's fucking their wife. I don't know. There's a myriad of reasons why people would do this. Obviously, it's sabotage of the worst order. What kind of different companies? Has anybody been near an exploding car dealership lately? And I'm afraid to go near a Yankee Candle now. Fuck.
That are supplying our food chain. Why is it that Bill Gates, an individual person, not a big corporation, is now the largest single independent person who owns the most farmland in this nation?
Because he has the money and he bought the farmland and he thinks he can farm more efficiently. And what the fuck does this have to do with chickens?
Why is that?
I don't know. Here's an idea. Why is it that Donald Trump owns that many golf courses? Why didn't he buy some fucking farmland? Oh, because that requires work.
Bill Gates and other elites at the good old World Economic Forum and elsewhere around the world telling us that eggs, beef, other things are bad for us. They add to climate change.
Yeah, but if he's buying farmland to grow shit, he's not buying up poultry farms and then setting the birds free and just going, fly, thud. I'm new to chickens. I'm more of a computer guy. What's wrong with it? Is it because it's fat? Has it been eating a lot of beef? Is that why it's fat? Is that it can't fly?
And we better start eating faux eggs, faux meat, bug sandwiches.
I ate faux eggs yesterday. 5 eggs. I'm sorry. 1 second. I don't eat faux eggs. Do I even have this in? Hold on. Please tell me I have. Nope. God damn it. I don't have it set up on the. Yeah, well, maybe I do. Hold on.
5 eggs.
There you go. I would never eat faux eggs. I would eat
5 eggs.
That's right. Just get that through your fucking skull.
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. Not faux eggs.
5 eggs.
So shut the fuck up, Danny Balls. You don't know what you're talking about.
While, of course, they do the exact opposite.
No, I think that a lot of those people are vegetarians. That's the kind of point. I don't think he's. Or you think he's eating giant like steak dinners with and an egg on top? He's eating an egg sandwich made out of 2 steaks instead of an English muffin. He's got 2 steaks and eggs and cheese, and he's just chewing on that fucker and going, "Let him eat cricket dust."
They dine on caviar, wagyu beef, fly.
Caviar, and wagyu, I believe.
Jets.
Yeah, they offset their carbon by paying for carbon credits. It's how Tesla stays in business.
And again, supply chain issues. Slowing down, getting the food.
No. Also, the supply chain issues are international supply chains. The kind of shit that comes here on fucking ships. It's not trucks full of eggs in the United States. Even the price of diesel in the fucking country is not prohibitively affecting the price of a giant semi shipping eggs. The fuck are you talking about?
To market. How many stories have we heard and reported on? Food.
Yeah. Did this little piggy go wee 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 all the way home? I don't think so.
Sitting in the fields going bad.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's all big. Bill Gates just bought farms to sit there and masturbate to rotting wheat.
These are all questions that need to be answered.
I already have. They're not questions that need to be asked, though.
Back to those fires and explosions. They're not.
Well, yeah, please. I've been waiting with bated breath.
Happening at chicken farms or ranches. They're happening at food processing plants.
Oh, weird. So you're saying the livestock aren't spontaneously combusting and wheat stalks aren't bumping into each other, creating little Boy Scout fires, but maybe factories sometimes catch fire. When did that shit start?
Show them some headlines. Headquarters of Azure Standard, the nation's premier independent distributor of organic and healthy foods, destroyed.
The headquarters. Okay. We got now this asshole. Now we got all right, hold on one second. God damn it. Okay, so whoops. Let's see. I got to tie on there. I'm back up. Fire destroys Azure stand. There you go. Okay. Okay, got that one. Hold on. And then that's Columbia Gorge News. Okay, got that one. Potato News Today. I don't even know why I have to look that one up. Idaho. Oh my God. Idaho. UPS pilot killed instantly. Oh shit. Idaho UPS pilot 30 is killed instantly after it's okay. I'm going to Potato News Today. I'm going to get the copy of that one. I'm not going. The Guardian has that one as well. Aw, poor late. It was a female pilot, an experienced female pilot. That's a fucking shame. Okay, another one. We're going to look at these stories together. Fire at California food plant prompts evacuations. Okay. So that didn't just get fire at California food plant. Good times. That was USA Today. It's US News. I'm going to try this here. There's the LA Times. I'm trying to find the same article. Fire at Taylor, Salinas. Okay, well, this will do. Fire contained evacuations. This is US News. I'm sorry I don't have the USA Today's, but this is the first one that came up, and we don't have time for this horseshit. Okay. And then Firefighter Nation. Fiery plane crash at General Mills food processing plant. Okay, sorry. Fiery plane crash at General Mills food processing plant. Okay. Yeah, there it is. Firefighter Nation. First choice. Excellent. And then the next one is explosion causes fire at Oregon potato chip. Oh my God, we're all fucked. There's not going to be enough. Have you checked the price of potato chips lately? It's horrifying. Okay, so it causes fire at Oregon. Okay, Oregon potato chip. Oregon potato chip. Sorry. OPB, Idaho State Journal. Let's see. Whoops, back up. I didn't want to go to the OPB. I wanted the, yeah, you know me. Oregon Live. That I don't know why. Oh, it happened in Oregon. Yeah, here it is. Oregon State Journal. Okay, I got all of them. Excellent. All right, here we go. So these are the 5 stories. Let's hit you with some fucking headlines. Let's see what happens. We'll go backwards because this is fucking hilarious. Explosion causes fire at Oregon potato chip plant. February 22nd, 2022. Obviously, this is, if you're wondering why potato chips are still so expensive, it's because just under a year ago, a fire damaged the Shearer's Food potato chip plant in Hermiston, Oregon on Tuesday night. A boiler explosion at a potato chip plant south of Hermiston, Oregon, sparked a dramatic fire Tuesday afternoon. Good Shepherd Medical Center reports 7 people came to the hospital. None of the injuries were serious. Plant supplies much of the western U.S. with potato chips and corn chips. When it's operating at full capacity, it employs 400 people. I'm starving already. That's the problem with fires at potato chip plants. You can't just burn one. You can't burn just one. Okay, fiery plane crash at General Mills food processing plant in Covington, Georgia. 2 dead. This was in April of last year. Covington firefighters responded to a plane crash that killed 2 people Thursday at the General Mills food processing plant. The small plane crashed apparently after taking off from the runway at the Covington Municipal Airport, which is right at the plane is right at the end. 6 tractor trailers were damaged as a result of the crash. Both occupants of the plane died. However, local officials were grateful the plane did not strike the plant building, which could have resulted in a greater loss of life. The National Transportation Safety Board is currently looking into the crash. It didn't do anything to the plant. The food processing plant was not affected at all. It wrecked Do these motherfuckers even try? Jesus. Fire contained at California food plant. Evacuations remain. All right, this has got to be the real shit. Firefighters have contained a massive blaze at a Central California food processing plant that prompted authorities to tell thousands of nearby residents to evacuate. Get the fuck out of here in Salinas. Firefighters contained a massive blaze at a Central California food processing plant. The fire started Wednesday night at the Taylor Farms packaged salad plant in Salinas. Obviously part of the giant Bill Gates conspiracy to stop beef and eggs. Oh. Now you know why he said hit him with some headlines instead of hit him with the body of the article. Shit. You guys still with me? Yeah, it's attack on Big Green. Yeah, it's a salad plant. Motherfucker. Wait, we're not done. Hey, maybe it was egg salad. Quit it. So far, potato chips. The second one, a potato chip plant, back up and running, I guess. No, anybody noticed a giant spike in potato chips? No. Also, didn't hit the building, didn't affect the plant at all. Also, salad. But again, they're trying to stop you from eating meat. This is really sad. Idaho UPS pilot killed instantly after a plane crashes into potato processing plant. Obviously, she was a Chinese or Russian spy. You can tell by her lovely smile and her nice airplane. This is just sad. Experienced female pilot was killed instantly on April 13th after a plane crashed into a gem state processing plant with a large chimney next to a rural airport in Hayburn, Idaho. As Jack Silver reports, she was flying UPS packages from Salt Lake City, Utah to Burley, Idaho when the tragedy took place last week. Described as a well-respected pilot beyond her years, had more than 11 years of flying experience around Utah and Idaho. By the way, beautiful territory, gusty fucking place to fly. Her distraught father, Jim Bob Infinger, he said Brittany knew the area well and flew to Burley International all the time. He blamed a hazardous chimney on the Gem State processing plant for the deadly crash and called for authorities to close the nearby landing strip. There's a 60-foot chimney sticking out of the food processing plant, no lights on it, dead center, straight across the runway. So whenever you come in, you have to fly over to the top or drop down. He's obviously a pilot too. Airport needs to be closed, period. Did it shut down the plant? Crashed into a gym with a large chimney next to an airport. Yeah. What? Okay. Let's see. Gem State Processing Plant. Hold on. Copy. That's the most recent story about it. Plane crashes on Gem State processing roof, killing pilot. You motherfucker. Bless her heart, and that's fucking sad. It didn't even do anything to the goddamn building. It's not even a cracked fucking window. Oh God. This fucking ghoul. And 8:30, the pilot didn't make it. He said the plane was coming in for a landing and hit a structure on the Gem State plant. That's it was delivering mail. She was delivering mail. She was in a Cessna 2013 2AB fixed wing, and it was registered to Spirit, so she was flying commercially for them. Man, bless her heart. So she hit the extended chimney on the top of that thing because it has no lights on it, and it killed her. And it didn't even fucking do anything. The plant didn't even... They probably took the day off from their shift because somebody died on their goddamn roof, and then they went right back to it. Okay, so we're 0 for 4. Meanwhile, here's the Fire Destroyers Azure Standard Headquarter Facility. This is the biggest one right here. This is April 20th, 2022. All of it was early last year. The headquarters of Azure Standard, the nation's premier independent distributor of organic and healthy food. By the way, distributor of organic and healthy food was destroyed by fire overnight. No injuries. The cause of fire is unknown and under investigation. The loss of facility and the impact on the company-wide operations being assessed and expected to be limited and temporary. No other Azure standard facilities were affected. While the HQ facility is a total loss and a few product lines will be affected for the short term, other Azure standard facilities are operating as close to normal as possible. Most importantly, we are grateful no one was injured. Our dedication to providing the highest quality food and products will continue as always. We ask your patience and prayers as we take steps to adjust and rebuild. We appreciate our Azure community and the many expressions of support we are receiving, and will continue to update our vendors and customers as needed. We expect the impact to be short term, limited in scope, and manageable. Like, none of this shit, any of it, not fucking any of it mattered. And it was ghoulishly grotesque to see. Look at the fucking flamey shit in the background. Why don't they just blow it up? Honest to God, why can't I just be sitting there in the studio next to him when it happens? Just so I can go, really? Really? You piggish fuck.
General Mills plant burning after
burn it up.
Plane crashed into it. Okay.
Okay.
List goes on. It's a couple.
Planes don't crash. That sounds hinky to me. I think they did it on purpose. I think that woman died hitting a fucking chimney, or the other plane, which had weather-related issues, from a local airport right next to the fucking place, because there's nothing else there. There's the food processing plant, and there's a tiny little airport. There's a bunch of towns like that all across the Midwest and the North.
We grabbed this morning. You've seen them over the last year or so. There's dozens of them.
And those are the ones you could find, and none of them affected the food chain at all.
These things happen periodically. I get it, because of the systems that are in place. There's high intense heaters, whatnot, things catch on fire. I get all that.
No, you don't. Because if there's dozens of them, you should have at least been able to find one that actually pertained to the issue at hand, which is prices going up because of fucked up supply chains, and maybe it was sabotage. None of these were even hinky. And the sad thing is you ghoulishly preyed on the idea that on two plane crashes where people died, as if it, at a fucking potato chip factory and a salad factory, like a salad packaging plant. Again, all right, fuck this.
Doesn't it seem a bit odd we've had so...
No, you seem a bit odd. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. Is there carbon dioxide in the studio? Are you feeling peaked?
Many in such a small, condensed period of time.
Because you haven't paid any attention fucking ever. And by the way, why would they... All right, never mind. At this point, I'm like, what if they're trying to... Why aren't cows bursting into flames, or fucking chickens? Why are none of these beef or poultry plants? It's all grains and fucking salad places and potato chips.
And yet we get no answers.
Because you're asking a question so stupid that anyone but me who takes some level of pleasure in dunking on dickheads like this wouldn't waste their fucking time.
Right?
No, not right. I went through all 5 of those fucking things. Nothing. Fucking 5 strikes and you're out.
There was a big one earlier this year.
Let's talk about it. There is no earlier this year. It's only been a month.
Only how many days in? 29 days into the new year? One of the first major of the new year, reported by NBC Connecticut. Egg factory during a national egg shortage goes up in flames. Does that sound suspicious? More than 100 firefighters.
No.
Called in to battle this one in Connecticut. 100,000 hens plus die in that one.
Massive fire destroys commercial egg. Okay, so Zero Hedge. Look at that. It's from Zero Hedge. What a surprise.
Extensive damage done.
Hold on. Massive fire destroys commercial egg farm belonging to top U.S. supplier. Well, let's look at that one. Let's look at, okay. Massive fire. Egg supplier. By the way, somebody else is calling it an egg-spiracy. Besides this asshole. Yeah. Egg fire. Here you go. Let's go to entrepreneur.com. 1 second. Massive fire at top egg farm leaves estimated 100,000 hens dead. What does this mean for egg prices? Hillendale Farms in Bosworth, Connecticut went up in flames on Saturday in an incident that is still under investigation. This is anything but excellent. It beats like an egg-spiracy. I don't know what the fuck. Fire at one of the nation's top egg producers broke out over the weekend, leaving an estimated 100,000 hens dead. Went up in flames Saturday in an incident still under investigation. Video posted on Twitter that's been viewed 5.7 million times shows the facility engulfed in flames and horrifying clouds of smoke as firefighters try to defuse the situation. Our team continues to work safely with closely with them. We confirmed that one chicken house was lost and that no other buildings were compromised. We are grateful that no employees were. One chicken house. How many chicken houses? If one chicken house, I'm not going to ask you to do math. If one chicken house has 100,000 hens in it, the coop, that's a big coop. It's a fucking big coop. That's a mega coop. It's a mega coop. That caught fire was approximately 50 feet by 600 feet, and the blaze required more than 100 firefighters from 16 area crews to put it out. Early this month showed the U.S. states egg prices increased, blah, blah, blah. One of the top 5 egg producers in the country. So let's go Hillendale Farms. Let's see. Where's the where that we can go? Let's just see. I want to see a breakdown. What's their normal setup like? Because again, one of the best ways to lie. Hillendale Farms, Bosworth, Facebook. Bosworth, Connecticut, Farm, what you should know. Let's see. Approximately, Hillendale Farms company profile. Let's see. I don't know what this is, but blah, blah, blah. No, I don't know. Just give me a fucking breakdown of the place. I just need a wiki, you jerks. Arms, Hillendale Farms, eggs, stock, is there like a Wikipedia on this motherfucker? The Happy Chicken Coop. Bosworth, Connecticut farm fire. What you need to know from the Happy Chicken Coop. 50 by 60 foot. Fire broke out. Firefighters arrived. Smoke, blah, blah, blah. 3 firefighters. 100. Consumers shouldn't stress about the fire's impact on current egg prices. Farm fire should have no impact on the availability of price of eggs in the United States. 100,000 hens can produce 600,000 to 700,000 eggs per week. But there are 389 million laying hens across the United States. That is statista. Hello. Here's your let's see. 2020 there were 391. 2020 391. 389, 389,000. Now they've culled 50, so maybe we're at a lower point than that even now. But we have a higher egg capacity than we did in 2008, 2009. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they haven't calculated in post this. That's 2021. Okay, this is the latest one is 2021. So there's probably going to be a drop of about 40, which brings you to 2009 levels. But that's in the no, because that's in the thousands. That's 389 million. Yeah, we're not even below any of these numbers, insofar as we know. It's just the turnover of production. There you go. Total number of hens, 2020, 2021. Yeah. So 389 million hens laying eggs in the United States.
Again, Could be.
Again, could be that a place caught fire. One out of several coops on that property caught fire and burned to the ground. Or it could be the Illuminati trying to make a dent in the American consumer's appetite for eggs by lowering the egg count by the hen count by 0.03%.
Just coincidence.
You're fucking dolt.
But I'm not buying it.
Well, I'm not selling it.
I'm a pretty reasonable guy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
you're an idiot. It's not. I'm not even giving you the credit of being a conspiracy theorist. You're not even doing the fucking math. You're not even reviewing the articles you're using headlines from.
Taught, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Sometimes it's steam. Sometimes people think what's smoke is steam and vice versa. Also, sometimes the fire is intentional and the smoke is always there. And just because you turn around and finally see smoke, you think suddenly there's a fire where there shouldn't be one.
And if all this wasn't enough to make you question things about our food supply and what's happening with eggs and chickens.
I found one guy who watches the show all the fucking time to come on here and tell you that there are black helicopters flying over his hen farm right now.
There's now online claims coming from smaller farming operations that the popular Producer's Pride chicken feed, that's a name brand, Producer's Pride, you can get it at Tractor Supply, Walmart, wherever. Well, recently they altered their formula, and some smaller chicken farm owners are now saying it's stopping their chickens from laying eggs. Really? We do know that...
Okay, sorry. Board has ties to WEF and Jeffrey Epstein. Source Gateway Pundit. Hold on. Okay. This one we gotta, whoops, hold on. We gotta dive into this shit. Give me 1 second. Chickens. All right, hold on. Tractor Supply chicken feed. Here we go, rabbit hole. Tractor Supply, whoops. Chicken feed. News. It's got to be in news, right? Hold on. More news. Yeah, not so much. Okay, first of all, this is the first thing that came up when I looked up the article. One is, are rising egg prices Jeffrey Epstein's fault? Maybe. This is from the Daily Dot. We'll look at that in a second. But right below it, that's a week ago. This is a day ago. Spike in national egg prices boosts small-scale Grant County. Here you go. Spike in national egg prices boosts small-scale Grant County producers. Like the rest of the country, Grant County has seen impacts of high prices for shortage of eggs hitting the pocketbooks of both households and grocers. But unlike some places, Grant County has a robust local egg economy where both demand and supply appear to be growing. Costs for commercially distributed eggs have skyrocketed. Grant County produced eggs have seen a gentler rise, and more consumers are turning to buying and producing local eggs. Suppliers of the chicks in the town, such as Tractor Supply and JD Feed and Supply, report an uptick in interest. Yes, they sell chicks as well as feed. So they're going to sell you chicks and then sell you feed for them that don't lay eggs. More than 57,000 birds have been exposed, blah, blah, blah. Figures expect to rise 70% in the next 4 years. Cost of chicken feed is also an issue because of the war in Ukraine. The price of both wheat and sunflower seeds. Ukraine is a top exporter. The latter has gone up. Okay, so let's go back to the article. This is the Daily. Are rising egg prices Jeffrey Epstein's fault? Maybe. The Gateway Pundit is again testing the balance of logic and reason. The far-right outlet has linked the national current egg shortage and rising price to a chicken feed company's supposed ties to Epstein and the World Economic Forum. On Wednesday, the Gateway Pundit wrote a story claiming that an 85-year-old purveyor of home and farm supplies, Tractor Supply Company, is selling chicken feed that causes hens to stop laying eggs. It alleges that the formula Tractor Supply's Producer Pride brand has recently altered to reduce the amount of protein, which may have been deliberate. Tractor Supply didn't immediately respond to an email inquiry about whether it has changed the formula of chicken feed or if it worked for Jeffrey Epstein to bring about an egg shortage. The story appears to be based almost entirely on a viral tweet from the past weekend. The tweet included a video of a woman claiming that her chickens started laying again after she switched them to goat feed. She did not name the brand of chicken feed she was giving the hens. It's not clear whether the Twitter user got the video, where the Twitter user got the video. In a later tweet, they said they buy eggs from a local farmer, implying that this isn't their video. Somehow, the Gateway Pundit found it. The article conceded an outbreak of avian flu, chickens laying fewer eggs in winter, and inflation are contributing to the high price of eggs, all of which are true. Then the story takes a hard right turn into conspiracy land. Recent reports of chickens not laying eggs come from in the wake of ongoing public concerns that the World Economic Forum is artificially causing food scarcity, it states. Some conspiracy theorists believe the WF is intentionally manufacturing a food shortage. The Gateway Pundit digs even deeper, drawing a line from the egg shortage to the work histories of 3 members of Tractor Supply's board. It reports that one member used to work for Vanguard, an index fund it claims is a contributor to the WEF. Woof, that's a reach. Vanguard is one of 24 members of the WF's Global Parity Alliance that launched last spring. It's not clear whether it contributes directly. The board member hasn't worked for Vanguard since 2015 and has only been at Tractor Supply since 2021. Another board member, Gateway Pundit continues, used to work for an agricultural company that's been criticized for using GMOs. GMOs are somewhat controversial, and last summer the WF published an article arguing that engineered crops could help fight climate change, but the company is hardly the only one that uses them. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And sorry, I have to click this off. Supposed link between them and Epstein is tenuous. Most shocking is that another board member was the president of Victoria's Secret 16 years ago. In its view, this is relevant because the owner of Victoria's Secret had given Epstein sweeping control over his personal finances at that time. Be that as may, a reasonable person may wonder how a deceased billionaire who preyed on young women and girls could have anything to do with the protein content of Tractor Supply chicken feed. Tractor Supply chicken feed reportedly causing egg laying to stop. Board has ties to WF. Oh, God. Discourse online suggests people believe the most liked comment on the article says, "You know damn well this is intentional. Criminals need to be shot." Yeah. And those poor little chickadees.
Hens lay fewer eggs in the winter. Okay. We get that. And it's wintertime. Okay.
Okay. But, okay.
We're past that point, folks.
No, we're not. The avian flu is the single reason. It is the single largest reason, and it's fucking obvious.
This is way bigger than that.
No, it isn't.
I want you to listen to this local farmer explaining what's been happening to her and what she's been hearing from other smaller farmers.
Finally, somebody said something in one of the chicken groups, and they were like, "Hey, has anybody else's chickens not laid a single egg? Because we've had them for 50 years, and we've never gone a winter without a single egg. Not one single egg." Well, we started letting our chickens out. And to free range, we usually feed them. You can see they're not even touching the feed anymore. Like, this has been here for 3 days. They don't want it. And apparently, everybody who's been feeding their chickens this type of feed has stopped getting eggs altogether. So people who aren't able to let their chickens free range or can't run around the yard at all aren't getting any eggs.
Our next guest.
Yeah, I that's all I needed. I mean, fuck double-blind studies.
Hunter Blackman, he's an independent urban...
I heard that. You guys heard that. Now we're part of the chicken conspiracy. Congratulations, everybody. Put on your chicken hat.
...farmer in the great state of Florida. I want to welcome to the program and see if he's having chickens that won't lay eggs either. Connor, welcome to the program.
I'm probably sure if he has children, they're human.
How are you, sir?
Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
So how's your chickens? Are they laying eggs?
Chickens?
Buy this feed? Like, what's happening on your farm?
My chickens are laying eggs now. Thank God. We went through a long time without getting any eggs. I had my speculations of why, but never considered it to be the food. We tried a lot of things. You know, we tried modifying the coop to make them more happy because you got to keep the ladies happy if you want to lay eggs. I got almost nothing. You know, we're talking about since June, July in Florida. You know,
Whoa.
it's a hot state.
So nothing to do with winter.
Sunlight.
Right. You should have been having
before
eggs.
the winter.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know, that corn looks suspicious.
I conveniently made the video during the winter, so there's a lot of people invalidating my claim, saying that I'm not getting eggs because it's winter. However, since my video posted, I would say like 15 days ago or so, I changed the food. I got eggs immediately.
Wow.
And I just keep getting eggs. I looked in my little basket today, my extra eggs. I had 12 eggs, Dan. The whole reason I got into...
It's great. It's like every day's Easter. It's a great story. It's fantastic. Also, is anybody surprised that you would ever have? Hold on, and I know this is a fucking hole. We don't need to go down this like too much. Yeah, he quit staring at them. He's just inside the coop. I stopped screaming at them, Dan, and they started producing eggs. Let's see. There we go. I got to go back to news maybe here. This will be an older story. I got to look for something like old. Maybe something like in the 90s. Let's see. We feed cows chicken poop, Mother Jones. Nope. Cattle drug threatens thousands of vultures. That is a good example of this. Like we've seen multiple times where, like companies make decisions like this, and well intended to increase output and to protect the animals from a new pathogen or whatever, and then it has unintended consequences. Not weird at all. This is, when was this one? 2016? Yeah. April of 2016. Modeling study paints bleak picture for Europe's bird populations. A veterinary drug blamed for driving vultures to the brink of extinction on the Indian subcontinent has caused thousands of bird deaths now as it is being used in Spain. Like, this kind of shit is not weird at all. It happens all the time. But chickens... here we go. Hold on. Where are we? Yeah, go ahead.
Do backyard chicken farming in the first place is because I want to provide healthy eggs for myself and a few friends, and I don't want to buy from factory farms. And during that period from July up until last week, I was having to buy those eggs, and at those prices, it's
also you don't want to buy from factory farms, but you're feeding your chickens some sort of corporate GMO feed from this Tractor Supply place. Almost indistinguishable, if indeed not even the same thing that they feed to on factory farms.
It's not fun.
Yeah, they're crazy. What are you paying down in Florida? Because I've seen them here in Cali. We're paying about $5.99 up to $6 something if you want organic good or brown or whatever or range free. Good eggs, you're paying more traditionally. But they're really...
By the way, that's also why the bird flu is worse. Because people, even Danny Balls here, want organic free range eggs with no antibiotics. And so that movement of consumers towards wanting organic eggs and wanting free range eggs and all that kind of stuff has actually risen the death toll of chickens by these pathogens over the years, because of the lack of antibiotics and the like.
Expensive out here. What are you paying?
It's a trade-off, but it's a cash trade-off ultimately, which one would argue is better than consuming some sort of antibiotic you don't want to take.
I would say for like the cheaper brands, the factory farm eggs, so you're looking at like $4.50 per dozen, and those higher end brands, I mean, I would be surprised to see it at $6 a dozen, Dan.
Wow, which is way up. I mean, you heard me at the beginning of this, 66% since last year. That's a lot for eggs. And again, this is an American staple. Who doesn't have eggs in their refrigerator unless you're, vegan and vegetarian and all that stuff? But most people have eggs in their fridge.
Yes, except when there's a giant avian flu outbreak. It's like how about, do you think if Danny Balls was on the other side of the coin when they had that big, like, when spinach was giving everybody salmonella, and you're like, if you're a Californian, you've got kale and spinach in your fridge. Now you can't find it anywhere. And if you can find it, it's super expensive and it's dicey to eat.
Were you using the, and I want to get this right, is it Producer's Pride? Is that what it was called?
I was not using Producer's Pride.
All right, fuck you. I'll be like, honest to fucking God. All that whole fucking wind up. And he wasn't getting eggs, and now he started getting eggs. And nothing. You fucking asshole. Oh. It's like the longest wind up to the world's shittiest punchline. That was so lame, I'm surprised it wasn't a Greg Gutfeld joke told by Jimmy Dore. Jesus Christ. He wasn't even using the son of a... Oh, my God. It's called We Have No Content. It's exactly right. This is like... They should just have, like, in our first world prima donna self-involved asshole report, what's a little more difficult than somehow we think it should be because reality gets in the way. My God. Danny Paulsack's deep-hitting research. I know, it's impressive. Right? Deviled eggs are up 666%. Mine are. All right, so I'm going to sign off and go back to work on my other computer to see if I can get it up and running for the morning show tomorrow. Wish me luck. If not, you'll see me tomorrow sitting in this chair, and I will tweak this setup a little bit more so that it's a little smoother for everything. So, anyways, love you guys. Thank you guys for the support today too. I got tied up in that last story and I didn't get to say hi. Fred Bear, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the... That's right. That's right. She may be gone, but she's still with us. That's right. Bing me bong me hit the like. Thank you, Kimchi, for reminding everybody to hit the like. Michael, thank you for that super chat as well. Bless you guys. And Shadow Woman, thank you for gifting the subs. Thanks for the bits, everybody. Let's see. Yeah. So, bless you. Yes, that is Diamond. She may be gone, but she's still with us in spirit.
5 eggs. 5 eggs. Eat 2 eggs a day. 5 eggs in a month.
That's Silk. This is
5 eggs.
That's right.
What?
That's right. It's true.
What?
I know. Absolutely.
Go.
That's right.
I call the stroker.
Well, that's fine. You could say that, but I don't know if you should say it in
The stroker.
What?
The stroker.
Quit it. Don't. I know you call it that,
The
but
stroker.
don't do that. It's not.
5 eggs.
That's fine. You're allowed to say that. Can we please move on from? It's just.
So we're going to get it going to a level that nobody can ever turn course on us. Nobody can ever change.
Well, good. That's great. Great news.
Legal.
I beg your pardon?
Legal.
Okay, got it. Anyways, much love to you guys, and I will see you in the morning for the morning show. Monday again, the guys from ADV China, the China show, are going to come on. Serpent Zede and Sea Milk, Lao 86. So that should be a good time. I'm excited. I'm not even sure which name to call them. They've got so many. I'm gonna have to work that out. I'll have to send an email to them. And by the way, on behalf of all the egg eaters out there, if you enjoy eggs as much as I do, oh my God, that one. I was trying to time the thing with my. When you give her. All right. Yeah. So, I want you guys. I'll see you guys. Bye, Australia. Love you. And to anybody who's watching the show later on, thank you so much for hanging out and giving me your eyeballs as well. Doesn't matter that you're not in the chat room with us live. We're glad that you're enjoying the show. And hi from everybody else in the chat if you're watching this later. And much love. And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
That's how I feel about it. Just remember that. All right. Much love. Bye.
Mitzvah bar.
Thought anybody could forget so much so fast without a severe blow to the head.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Yosemites, Yosemites.
To be moral, to be Barack. And the embassy, like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
I think there's some kind of deviated treatment. I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Geez, you're real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Leon's getting larger.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Call me Snake.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.